Emmerich says employers have a challenge ahead of them.
Nearly 9 out of 10 workers, those who are either working or looking for full-time work, support a 4-day work week.
Hamrick says the data from a recent Bankrate survey shows that workers are willing to change jobs and even take lower pay if it means they can work 4 days a week. I'm Trey Thomas.
That's the trade-off here as well.
Even take lower pay,
but it's worth it just to see Kasper's smiling face every day. For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
The heat wave starts today as high temperatures climb to the low to mid 90s later this afternoon. We'll start off with some cloud cover, give way to more sunshine later on. Dew points will be hanging out in the 70s. Otherwise clear tonight with temperatures dipping to the mid to upper 70s for our lows before we get into the peak of this heat wave tomorrow, with high temperatures in the upper 90s and even some triple digits. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
Family owned and operated, Toyson Ford is proud to serve the drivers of the Chippewa Valley with some of the most popular vehicles around Wisconsin and the country. They're committed to giving drivers from across the area the best in customer service with a top-notch selection of brand new vehicles to choose from, as well as an extensive inventory of pre-owned crossover, SUV, and trucks. Plus, with their expert finance, service, and part centers in-house, they strive to be your one-stop dealership for all of your automotive needs. Visit them today. 00 Chippewa Crossing Boulevard in Chippewa Falls.
You'd do anything to keep your vehicle happy. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, the parts that fit are just a click away. Just look for the green check, ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Welcome to the Dan Kasper Show.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's the show that features serious, thought-provoking sports talk and insightful sports commentary.
You knew it!
In other words, it's the show where they all talk a crap load about sports.
Let's go for it!
Now let's introduce your host, a man who lives and breathes and has a passion for sports. A man who breaks everything down in the sports world and gives you everything you need to know. Plus a bunch of stuff you probably don't need, but you'll still enjoy it.
You can't handle the truth.
Here is your host, Dan Kasper.
Prime time! Prime time!
What up, everybody? Good morning and happy Tuesday, August 22nd. Dan Kasper Show is officially now on the air on your radio dials. 105.1 FM, 790 AM. You can also stream us at sportstalk1051.com. How about those Google and Alexa home devices? Absolutely. Just say, Alexa, play Sports Talk 105.1 Eau Claire. Video stream also up and rolling on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Hopefully you're all off to a fantastic start if you are already up and at it or just getting going on your day. Sounds like it's going to be a warm one out there. So be safe for everybody that has to be outside, work outside, putting in the hours outdoors. Be safe out there. All right. Hydrate, base pace hydrates. Stay cool, all that good stuff. What do we got on the docket for us here this morning? Off day yesterday for the Brewers, but they're back in action tonight, taking on border rival. I always feel weird saying border rival when it comes to Brewers and Twins because, I don't know, I don't necessarily view Brewers and Twins as big-time rivals or anything like that. But nonetheless, maybe a little bit more in terms of the fans or something like that. So I don't know, but quick 2-game series here for both the Brewers and Twins. First game starting tonight, 7:10. Wade Miley on the mound for the Milwaukee Brewers. Can he help keep the momentum for the Brewers? You've got on the other side here for the Twins, Bailey Ober's going 6-6 with a 3.40 ERA. So we'll preview this game coming up here in just a little bit. But we're officially in that final quarter of the season, a little bit into it, with that Texas game. If you're looking at, like, I'm looking at Brewers as they're like about 77% through that through the season here. So we'll just kind of call it that they're starting up their final quarter of the season right now. But 37 games left to go. What is that magic number, do you think, for the Crew to get to the postseason? If you had to put a line on there, is it 90? Do you feel like 90 is going to be like, okay, if they get 90, they're in? They hit that number, they're in, whether it's a wild card or a division, whatever it may be. 90 is kind of that number, which means they would have to win 22 more games out of their final 37. Think they could do that? 22-15 at that point? Doesn't seem like it's that insurmountable, does it? But you look at these final games coming up. If we're looking at, the final schedule here, Minnesota, Padres for 3 games starting this weekend. Then next week, not to look too far ahead, but next week you've got 3 games against the Cubbies in Wrigley, which that's going to be a big-time series for both those ball clubs. Then you return home to face Philly, who is battling it out for a wild card spot. Then you go on the road for a little bit of an East Coast trip. You got 3 games against Pittsburgh, then the struggling Yankees. Then you return home for a stretch here. Miami still battling it out for a wild card spot. The Nationals. St. Louis for 4 games. Miami again. And then you finish up with St. Louis and the Cubs at home. And I'm sure, St. Louis, you're looking, okay, like St. Louis, out of it now. Don't have to worry about them. For the longest time, we were thinking, oh, don't count out the Cardinals. Don't count them out. They'll probably rebound and make a late push for the postseason. I think now they're probably at that point. Nobody's really worried about them. I mean, I guess they can just go on this ridiculous run here, but odds are that's probably not going to happen. But I'm sure the Cardinals would love nothing more than to play spoilers for both the Brewers, the Cubs, if they play them up, and just play spoilers for the rest of the season there. So with that, kind of looking at these final games here, what do you think is that magic number? What do you think is that magic number for the Crew in the final 37, where you feel like that's got them in? 90? Is it 88? Somewhere under? What do you think they'll finish up with this, with these final, a little over a month left to go here? So we'll talk some Crew, preview tonight's game and such. We're getting closer to the final preseason game for the green and gold. Final few practices for some of these players to make a final statement, to kind of, make their final cases why they should be on the 53-man roster, or maybe even practice squad. Last couple days, I've been kind of giving you my 2 cents on who has really stood out or what has really stood out and that sort of thing. But I want to throw it back to you. With 2 games now in the books for this preseason, who or what has really stood out to you? I've given you my thoughts these last couple days, but I want to hear from you. Like, who has really stood out, or what has really stood out to you in these 2 games? Is it a player? Is it Jordan Love? Is it somebody else? Has anything surprised you? Has anything really disappointed you? Now, take it for what it's worth, but I did see, this was before last night's game. By the way, I jinxed it. The streak is over. The Ravens preseason win streak over, thanks to the Commanders last night. But I did see this from Pro Football Focus. It is preseason, so just take it with a huge grain of salt on this. Pro Football Focus, Packers number 1D, number 1 offense, scoring offense. So it's preseason though, but still, it's kind of cool. but it's preseason. So don't really run away with that. I just think it's a good nugget. Interesting nugget. So anyways, who has stood out to you? What has stood out to you? Let me know, because I've been giving you my thoughts the last couple of days, my opinions and such, but I want yours. I'm really curious who maybe has turned your head or has got you like, ooh, wow, I'm kind of intrigued with that guy, with that player. That guy looks good. So hit me up. Start hitting me up with those texts on the Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912, or find me on Twitter at DANKASPER, Facebook.com/Kasper Sports. Comment on the video stream over there too. We're inching closer and closer to the start of the Badger football season as well. 11 days to kick off. So we'll catch up with RJ Cardinal coming up in a couple hours from now in the 8 o'clock hour, about 8:20, 8:25 here this morning, as we inch closer and closer to the official Luke Fickell era beginning. Now, I know he was coaching the bowl game, but, we this is what we really kind of consider the start of the Luke Fickell era, right? This is what we're really looking at, right? So, but nonetheless, we'll talk some Badgers with Mr. RJ Cardinal coming up here. He's starting to get a little bit more excited. More, preseason predictions are coming out with Badgers winning the Big Ten West, that sort of stuff. So, is it starting to kind of maybe get a little bit more exciting for you? Maybe you're already just jacked up and pumped up for the Badger football season to begin. We know college football, we got games coming up this weekend and such, but Badgers will officially start in 11 days. By the way, Jim Harbaugh to self-impose a suspension. He will be missing the first three games for the Michigan Wolverines this season. Don't know if that'll help, I guess, alleviate a potential suspension for next year if he's still around with Michigan. But again, look at the schedule for Michigan. I think they'll be fine. And they're all at home too. So, but we'll talk some college football with Cardinal coming up in just a couple of hours from now. Also, it is Tuesday, which means it is a Grind My Gears Tuesday. What's grinding your gears? Let us know, okay? Get it off your chest. This is the only day you can do it. This is the only day you can get to do it. What is grinding your gears? Okay? Get it off your chest. Share it with the rest of the class. All right? So, let's get things rolling here this morning. We'll chat some Brewers and Packers to open up things here this morning. Again, looking at the Brewers, what do you think is that magic number for the Crew with 37 games left to go? They just can't shake the Cubs and the Reds, though. Twins a little bit more comfortable right now with a 6-game lead over the Cleveland Guardians. But if you had to pick which team that you think could advance further in the postseason, Twins or Brewers, which one would you pick? Not saying it just be a homer, but I'd feel a little bit more comfortable with the Brewers, mostly for the pitching and such. But, hey, we'll see how the rest of you say. But what is that magic number? We'll look at preview game 1 of game 2. Game 1 of a 2-game series. That's the best way to say it. Between Brewers and Twins. Plus, I want to hear from you. Who or what has stood out to you in the first 2 games? Or, I guess, throughout training camp for the Green and Gold. All right? You've been hearing me give my thoughts and give some players' names. But I want to hear from you. So, we'll hit up both these in the first hour. Let's take our first break. And then get the leadoff going. Brew Crew, Go Pack, Go Chat coming up after these few words.
Got a take on today's topics but can't call in? Then hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, or the text line and let your fingers do the talking.
Dr. Logan Shepke from Shepke Chiropractic is joining me right now. And Logan, it sounds like you just want to give a nice thank you, shout out to some of your patients.
I do.
There.
Yeah, it's been awesome. The support we've had, going through the different stages of acquiring the Altoona office, and then now with the new child here. So really thankful for all the referrals that I've been receiving from patients or other medical providers, and the support from my existing patients. You guys have been awesome. So shout out to you guys.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And, looking at the calendar here quickly too, we got football coming up with those youngsters with camp. So it might be a good time to maybe make some appointments and get adjusted before camp.
Absolutely.
And even during football season.
Absolutely. All ages. Yeah. Get in, get yourself straight, and then hit it hard.
Yeah, definitely. And be safe out there too, right?
That's right.
Exactly. So again, big thank you to everybody who's stopped by to Shepke Chiropractic. And if you want to make an appointment, where do they go to?
ShepkeChiropractic.com.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union, the local Wisconsin team that's always rooting for you. Your favorite catcher makes his Brewers bobblehead debut, as fans can take home a William Contreras bobblehead on Saturday, September 16th. Given to the first 30,000 ticketed fans through the gates, courtesy of Meyer. Get your tickets at brewers.com. UW Credit Union, here for every you. Join today.
If you're a motorist of the four-wheel variety, please watch out for those of us in Wisconsin who do their traveling on two wheels. Adjust your mirrors to reduce your blind spots. Allow motorcyclists a full lane width. Use your turn signal when merging or changing lanes. And allow more following distance between you and the motorcycle. Motorists and motorcyclists can work together to achieve zero preventable deaths on Wisconsin roads. Zero in Wisconsin. Together we can save lives. Learn more at zeroinwisconsin.gov.
Sponsored by Wisconsin DOT.
Today's job market is full of demand for skilled trade workers. Electricians, welders, mechanics, these and other trades are the backbone of every community. They're also a huge part in making sure the Army National Guard is always fulfilling its mission of service to our country and communities. Soldiers train to keep the power flowing, engines running, and supplies moving. The skilled trades these soldiers perform are the same ones needed in today's civilian workforce. Army National Guard soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. With options from plumber to helicopter mechanic and everything in between, soldiers are able to select the trades that best fit their lives. Their resumes are being built through their paid training and part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession and serve your community and country by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
The Shoe Doctor is known for quality footwear. Remember, the Shoe Doctor can keep your feet comfortable during all the different outdoor weather and activities here in the Chippewa Valley. Work boots, casual shoes, sandals, and more from brands you trust like Keen, Merrill, Chaco, and Dansko, and that's just to name a few. Located on Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire, you can also visit them online at ShoeDoctorFootwear.com. The Shoe Doctor, quality footwear for work, sport, and fun.
Sports. You love it. We love it. And quite frankly, I don't trust anyone who doesn't love it. Do you?
Is that a serious question?
The Dan Kasper Show.
Wake up and smell the magic that is cabin coffee in Altoona. From the moment you step in, you're embraced by the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the warmth of community. Their skilled baristas handcraft each cup with love, ensuring every sip is an experience worth savoring. Even if you're not a coffee person, they've got something for everyone, okay? Smoothies, Red Bull infusions over there, they're fantastic. Embrace the comfort of a cabin getaway right at your favorite coffee shop. Visit Cabin Coffee today at 2922 Meadowlark Lane in Altoona. Elevate your coffee experience at Cabin Coffee because life is too short for just ordinary brews. All right. Especially with it maybe being a little bit warmer today. Maybe go with the iced coffee or the blended one over there. Just throwing out some suggestions. Okay. So, all right. Got quite a few of you already texting in this morning. I love it. The ever optimistic G-Man, captain the Brewers, will win against JR's Twins. 96 wins for the crew. 96 this year and going to the next level. Brewers and Twins will be in the World Series this year. Surprised, G-Man, you and JR aren't going down to the game today or tomorrow. Maybe you are. I don't know. But surprised you're not going down to Milwaukee over there to check out the game. Okay, maybe you are. I got a couple of grind my gears already. I like it. Drew from Eau Claire. The only thing grinding my gears is having to work outside in this oven of a state right now. Everybody say, thanks, global warming. I got Josh from Colfax. People speeding on Claremont grinds my gears. All right, keep those grind my gears coming. We've got quite a few of you already texting in about some players who have stood out to you for the first couple of games here for the green and gold and such. This is from Travis, though, too. Quick little question here. Where do you think, and do you think Jonathan Taylor is going to be traded? So if you didn't hear, the Colts have given Jonathan Taylor permission to seek a trade now. But obviously they're asking a very high price. Reports are out there saying they want a first-round pick. So, in one instance, they're not willing to give him a big deal, yet they want a first-round pick. It's like the whole balancing. I would be shocked if they got a first-round pick. You kind of look at McCaffrey, what the 49ers gave up for Christian McCaffrey last year was second, third, fourth, and a future fifth, something like that. So maybe somewhere around that at that point. But I do think eventually he will be traded. Where? I'll tell you where I would like to see him play or where I'd like to see him get traded. Miami. I wouldn't mind if he went over to Miami because make the AFC East just a little bit harder for those Jets. Just saying. And then you put Jonathan Taylor into that offense ran by Mike McDaniel and such. Help out Tua over there in the backfield. You add Jonathan Taylor to a mixture of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Make it happen, Miami. Make it happen. Go get Jonathan Taylor. Now, I don't know if the whole some in the past, I don't know if this necessarily is a thing anymore, but in the past, it would be like, well, not going to trade within the conference and that sort of thing. And I don't know if Taylor's necessarily at that level, Some maybe like a quarterback or something, maybe like an Aaron Rodgers, I think we all kind of figured, okay, he's not going to get traded within the NFC and such. But I think if you're the Colts, you just get whatever best deal possible, especially considering it's the running back position with all the hoopla and debates surrounding the running back position and such. I think you just go out there and try to get the best deal possible. It does stink if you're a Colts fan, though, too, because, you got a young rookie quarterback coming in, Anthony Richardson, who might have to be patient with, let him grow, and not to have Jonathan Taylor in the backfield with him. It stinks for Anthony Richardson for this season here, too, but, we'll see how it all plays out. But if I had to pick one team, I'd love to see Miami go after Jonathan Taylor and get him. So hopefully that helps answer your question there, Travis. I'm curious to hear from fantasy footballers out there. With your drafts, and maybe some of you have already drafted, maybe some of you waiting, for like Labor Day weekend and such. How are you approaching this whole running back? You're seeing teams obviously with the duos, and we know some of them, like Green Bay in an instance, we know they've got Jones and Dillon as their duo, but Jones is the number one back. We know that. But I'd be curious to know with the quote valuing of the running back position and teams maybe going with the 2-back system a little bit more, does that lower the value of like running backs when it comes to fantasy football and such? I know Justin Jefferson's a very popular first overall pick this year, and he plays wide receiver and such, and I'm sure a lot of it just depends on the makeup of your fantasy leagues, where the points come from, PPRs and all that sort of stuff there too. So, but in Jonathan Taylor's case, kind of curious to see where he's going in some drafts and that sort of thing. So, okay, we'll catch up on some of your picks here momentarily for who's really stood out to you for the green and gold. But I got a couple of you, actually more than a few of you, giving me some wins here for the crew. This is from Eric. A while ago, I wouldn't have thought 90 wins was possible for the Brewers, but looking at the math now, 68 wins, 37 more to go. I think it definitely is realistic. So I'm going to go with 90 as my magic number, where I feel like if the Brewers achieve 90 wins, they're going to get into the postseason. This is from Greg. He's going 88 wins for the crew. Got another 88 wins here from Matt. We got an 87 here from Chris. We got 89. 89. Is this like, I feel like now I'm Bob Barker or Drew Carey on Price is Right. We got 89 wins. We've got another 90 coming in here. So, all right. So it looks like the majority, high 80s, couple 90s down there, that sort of thing. So keep them coming. Hit me up on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line with the text 715-830-1912. I don't think anybody so far has topped G-Man's prediction of 96 wins. Yeah, G-Man. Are you doubling your 401k on that one there, G-Man? Just making sure. So, Brew Crew taking on the Twins tonight. Wade Miley going on the mound for the crew. He's looking for his 7th win on the season. Wade Miley coming off that loss against the Dodgers back on the 16th, where he went 5 innings, giving up 3 earned runs on 7 hits. You look at his last few games here, though. In his last 36 innings pitched, Wade Miley, 2.75 ERA, 31 hits, 27 strikeouts, 11 earned runs there. If you're looking at his last 3 games here, back against Colorado on the 8th, he pitched a solid no decision, 6 innings, giving up just 1 earned run. His first game back off the injury list against Washington, went 4 innings, 1 earned run as well. I mean, even that loss against the Dodgers, I wouldn't necessarily say it's like a bad loss rate. Like the 3 earned runs against the Dodgers, for crying out loud. I mean, come on now. So, but again, when it comes to Wade Miley, for me at least, I'm like always crossing my darn fingers and just hoping that the man's going to stay healthy and still pitching at a high level throughout the rest of this regular season here and into the postseason. So what? He's got around 5 more starts for the regular season here. Get through it, get to the postseason healthy, and be pitching well, Wade, okay? Just stay healthy and continue to pitch well. We need you in that rotation, buddy. All right? We need you, man. When you're looking at, these lineups against these pitchers, Twins, a few Twins players have a little bit more experience going up against Wade Miley. And I'm sure it's because Wade Miley spent some time in the American League and such. But you got Correa and 10 career at-bats going up against Wade Miley. He's just hitting 100. Lupo's 16, 125. Solano, 12 at-bats, 167. So, I mean, Wade Miley, against some of the Gallo, 7 at-bats, 143. So, I mean, some of these players with majority of at-bats against Wade Miley has a little bit of the advantage. Vazquez really, for the Twins, has probably the best numbers against him, even though it's just 5 at-bats, and he's hitting 400. So Wade Miley has some good results, solid results against quite a few of these players in the Twins lineup. On the flip side, you're looking at you're looking at the Brewers lineup going up against Bailey over here. Not as much. Santana, though, has got the most career at-bats, and he's over. 8 at-bats going up against Bailey, and just nothing, zeros across the board. And then you got like a game's worth between everybody else on there. So, but Bailey, so far here, he's coming off of a no decision against Detroit back on the 15th. 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs. Before that, on the 9th, he was up against Detroit, picked up the loss. 5 innings, 11 hits, 4 earned runs. Bailey's looking for his 7th win on the season. 6-6 with a 3.40 ERA. But those pesky Cubs, they just won't go away right now. They're just 2.5 back from the Brewers in the NL Central, picking up a 7-6 victory against the Tigers last night. And, kind of doing a little bit of scoreboard watching here. The Cubs have a chance to really rack up some more wins here leading up to that series with the Brewers. They got the Tigers for 2 more games. Then they got a 4-game series with the Pirates before they start that series with the Cubs. And then right after that, interesting series, big-time series. You got Cubs versus Reds. Then you got another one, Cubs Diamondbacks, Cubs Giants are on there too. But I'm just kind of looking at, doing a little scoreboard watching, looking ahead to the rest of the Cubs schedule here. So Cubs Reds Memorial Day weekend. That's the last time the Cubs and the Reds are going to be facing each other for this season. We know Brewers and Cubs have 2 more series at the end of this month, and then the final series at the end of the regular season here. But when you look at the Brewers schedule before that Cubs, you got 2 games against the Twins, you got 3 games against the Padres. Knowing that the Cubs got a couple more against the Tigers, 4 against the Pirates, those are very winnable games for the Cubbies there. So I would say it puts a little bit more on the Brewers to make sure they come away with these wins against Minnesota and the Padres here. Take advantage. You're going to be in Milwaukee. You're going to be at home at your own ballpark. Get these wins. I mean, it's not that far out of the realm to say, on the 28th, when we start that Brewers and Cubs series, could it be tied up? Could one team just have a half game lead, a game lead, whatever? It's going to be close. I think right now at this point, if I'm looking at it, there's an opportunity, not to look too far ahead, but there's an opportunity like when Brewers and Cubs start up next week. Brewers might be up by a game and a half. Cubs, if they have a good series, they win that series. Could they overtake the division? Holy crap, are we actually saying that? Holy moly, man. I don't know. But the Cubs just won't go away. They won't go away. Got to give them credit. They've grinded it out. They stuck with it. Everybody thought they were going to be sellers at the deadline, and they started playing some really good ball. The players said, no, let's go for this thing. They ended up being buyers at the deadline, and they just won't go away. So it's going to be a pretty interesting next couple of weeks here for the Crew and for the Cubs. Both Brewers and the Cubs. Kind of wondering who the Reds are going to be playing in these next couple of weeks. Well, they've got they start a series with the Angels. And then they've got the Diamondbacks on here, then the Giants and the Cubs. Mariners. Just kind of looking at the Reds, rest of their regular season on here too. Man, this is setting up for quite the race to the finish here. More numbers coming in here. Got a couple more 88s. Got a 91 on here. Got a 92. Got a couple more 90s flying in here. I'm going to stay with my 90. I think if they get to 90 wins, then I think that's kind of like the magic number for me, where they're going to get in the postseason with 90 wins. I think, for sure that's going to get into a spot there. And I think it's achievable. In these last 37, to get 22 more wins. Yeah. That's what, 22 and 15 for a playoff team, for a first place team to go 22 and 15 in the final 37. Yeah. Should be able to. But I'll stay around that 90, but holy moly. You're looking at this last month of the season and some potential battles for wild card positioning and maybe even and some division positioning. You got those games against Miami, Philadelphia on the schedule, Cubs, man, and Miami a couple times on there too. So, all right, what has Surveyor got to say for grinding his gears? Good morning, DK. You know what grinds my gears? The Jordan Love haters, especially Colin Cowherd. I have never seen so much hate and disgust for one player without them taking any really meaningful snaps. It's just pure animosity that is spewing from the mouths of national show hosts, and he is yet to have a season to show what he can do. You were basing Love's game off the Chiefs game a couple years ago, but don't you dare talk about the fourth quarter against Philadelphia last year. Colin, if you're listening, you are narrow-minded, disgusting, egotistical, tiny man that deserves to get an atomic wedgie from Caleb Jones. I love. Okay, that's some pent up stuff right there, Surveyor, and I'm glad you could get it off your chest right now. I love it. That's awesome. You know, there seems to be, maybe just from other people, but some that's others that are kind of maybe opening their eyes a little bit more to Jordan Love. I just saw Rich Eisen the other day on his show. Putting out there, are we, when I say we, he's talking about the general masses out there, sleeping on the Packers, overlooking them a little bit. And he was talking about it was another good preseason game, another good performance from Jordan Love. And he threw out there, are people sleeping on Green Bay this year, overlooking them a little bit? What do you think? Yay or nay? So, all right. Tell you what, we got quite a few more texts coming in here about players or what has surprised you from this preseason for the Packers so far. So if you haven't texted those on in, text them on in, 715-830-1912. Again, 715-830-1912. We'll take a quick break. And we'll finish up the first hour after these few words.
The Dan Kasper Show will be right back.
Wake up and smell the magic that is Cabin Coffee in Altoona. From the moment you step in, you're embraced by the aroma of freshly brewed coffee and the warmth of community. Their skilled baristas handcraft each cup with love, ensuring every sip is an experience worth savoring. Even if you're not a coffee person, they still have something for you. Embrace the comfort of a cabin getaway right in your favorite coffee shop. Visit Cabin Coffee today at 2922 Meadowlark Lane in Altoona. Elevate your coffee experience at Cabin Coffee.
This update sponsored by UW Credit Union, the local Wisconsin team that's always rooting for you. Your favorite catcher makes his Brewers bobblehead debut, as fans can take home a William Contreras bobblehead on Saturday, September 16th. Given to the first 30,000 ticketed fans through the gates, courtesy of Meyer. Get your tickets at brewers.com. UW Credit Union, here for every you. Join today.
If you're a motorist of the four-wheel variety, please watch out for those of us in Wisconsin who do their traveling on two wheels. Adjust your mirrors to reduce your blind spots. Allow motorcyclists a full lane width. Use your turn signal when merging or changing lanes. And allow more following distance between you and the motorcycle. Motorists and motorcyclists can work together to achieve zero preventable deaths on Wisconsin roads. Zero in Wisconsin. Together we can save lives. Learn more at zeroinwisconsin.gov.
Sponsored by Wisconsin DOT.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
What's something you can't get for $18.99? Supplies for one last camping trip. What's something you can get for $18.99? A month of unlimited car washes at Clean. You can't do in 5 minutes? You smell out of the camp. Get a car that's Clean and Classy on West Claremont and off Hastings on Brackett Avenue. Wash your car more than once a month? A monthly pass is going to save you money. Make your car clean and classy.
Need to update your furniture? Menards is your one-stop shop with all of the latest furniture styles at the lowest prices. Plus a great selection in stock, ready to take home today. So go ahead, relax in a recliner, get cozy in a love seat, or simply unwind with a comfy sofa. Need more seats? We've got sectionals too. Get 11% off your new furniture set now at Menards. Good through August 27th, savings or mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Today's job market is full of demand for skilled trade workers. Electricians, welders, mechanics, these and other trades are the backbone of every community. They're also a huge part in making sure the Army National Guard is always fulfilling its mission of service to our country and communities. Soldiers train to keep the power flowing, engines running, and supplies moving. The skilled trades these soldiers perform are the same ones needed in today's civilian workforce. Army National Guard soldiers are on the fast track to learning skills that can set them up for success at home with companies looking to hire the best. With options from plumber to helicopter mechanic and everything in between, soldiers are able to select the trades that best fit their lives. Their resumes are being built through their paid training, part-time service. Find out how you too can learn a trade profession and serve your community and country by visiting NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard, aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
If you were to listen to Dan Kasper nonstop around the clock for a solid month, you'd become the king of all sports fans, desired by beautiful women, and rich beyond your dreams. I think. Try it and let's see. The Dan Kasper Show.
Labor Day weekend's coming up. Football season's getting underway. We got bow season opener coming up here too in just a few weeks, which means continue the grilling season. All right, tailgating, maybe going up to deer camp and such. We got that 1 month challenge. It's under a month now, but we got a couple weeks left here. We partnered up with our good friends from Mike's Star Market here in Eau Claire, where portions of the proceeds from brat sales over there going to help fund backyard dreams. So if you're getting ready for deer camp for a little bow season opener, maybe some tailgating, Labor Day camping, cookouts, whatever it may be, go get your brats from Mike's Star Markets, like the Man Cave Light brats, the dill pickle and cheddar brats, or whatever type of flavor brats you got. And if you've ever been to Mike's or you haven't taste tested a lot of their stuff and you're a bow hunter or you're a deer hunter, go over there, try some of their stuff, and then maybe get some ideas of when you do get that deer that you can take it over to Mike's Star Markets and get some of the stuff made. All right, but head on over to Mike's. We got a goal in mind to make a $500 donation to Backyard Dreams. That's what they'd like to do, but we need your help. So fill up those coolers and those deep freezers. If you don't have a deep freezer and you live in Wisconsin, come on now. You got to load it up with some meat. Head on over to Mike's Star Market, west side of Eau Claire. Spencer, good to hear from you, Spencer, here this morning. Good morning, Dan. I've been impressed with the Packers' young receiving core. They're not putting up eye-popping numbers, but they're making the catches in traffic and all the contested catches. And I like what I'm seeing out of the young receivers. That makes the quarterback look good, the entire offense as a whole. Chad picking Rasheed Walker, giving up 0 pressures. Piggyback off of Surveyor's grind my gears. It grinds my gears hearing optimism out of half the Packers fan base that have been bashing Love for the last 3 years. Go root for the Jets. You're correct, by the way. Miami's the spot for JT. He with Hill and Waddle. No defense will stop that offense if Tua doesn't get another concussion. I mentioned Rich Eisen maybe being on the Jordan Love bandwagon. Here's just a clip of what he said on his show yesterday, audio courtesy from the Rich Eisen show. All right. That's just this is a little bit what Rich had to say on it. Rich Eisen. Rich Eisen show, also NFL Network over there. So, you agree with him? You buying in right now? Just 2 games into the preseason, as we're starting to wrap up training camp here. Are you on that bandwagon right now? You got a lot of other national people out there besides some, as Surveyor Sam mentioned on there, but you got some that are kind of going on the bandwagon there a little bit. How about you as Packers fans? Or, I mean, I'd be curious to hear from non-Packers fans too, and try to keep the bias out of it too. You know, even if you really, really, really dislike the Packers, your general thoughts on what you have seen and heard from Jordan Love this training camp in these last couple of games here. And Rich is right. You can't, don't want to put a whole lot into to preseason games and such. I mean, we could think of plenty of examples of where players looked really good in preseason, right? We could think of a lot of players that looked really good, quarterbacks that have looked really good in preseason, and it just didn't work out in the regular season. No offense, and I don't want to pick on the guy, but Brett Hundley was one of those guys. Brett Hundley was putting up some great preseason numbers. When it came to regular season, didn't really play up to those numbers. Now, could it be, if we did a deep dive, you kind of look at, okay, what were some of the throws he was making in preseason? Was a lot of dink and dunks, easy throws and that sort of thing. We could do a deep dive into that. And I think it's fair to say, to give Love some credit, that the guy has made some wild throws. I mean, the Jaden Reed throw for the touchdown, the Romeo Dobbs throw. Got to give a lot of credit to Romeo for making that catch and staying in bounds, though, too. But Rich is right, too. We talked about it, what those Bengals players said during camp, their eyes, what they saw practicing against Jordan Love. So, are you starting to, if you were on the fence or you were skeptic, you were a little pessimistic about Love, is that starting to turn for you a little bit? Are you starting to maybe feel a little bit better about number 10? Or maybe you're just waiting for the regular season. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to wait till the regular season, you want to see how he does when the games matter, and not just necessarily preseason ball and practice and that sort of thing. But give me an honest opinion. Give me an honest insight of what you've seen from him so far this year. Some other players that you have texted in that have stood out to you. We've gotten a couple more wide receiver picks. We've got Chris saying Jaden Reed and the other young wide receivers at the bottom of the depth chart have really stood out to me so far. Hopefully that can continue throughout the season. We've got another Josh here saying it's the tackles, the offensive line over there with Rasheed Walker and Yash Nyman. It seems like they are set with depth at the tackle position. We've got Greg saying the defensive line, to piggyback off what you said yesterday about the two rookies. I feel like the top 5 is already set in stone, and I'm excited to see those youngsters contribute, and maybe finally Kenny Clark has some help this year. We got another one pick for the defensive line as well. It looks like I don't have a name from that one. Jason's picking the edge rushers. He's going with Kingsley. Had a fantastic game on Saturday night. Van Ness was a little bit better. Hopefully he can continue to grow. Hollins has been quietly having a good camp as well. I think they've got some really good depth at edge rushers. Another pick here. We've gotten Emmanuel Wilson. I might be in the minority on this, but I think he has shown real promise as a runner. Will he be the future after Aaron Jones? Who the heck knows? But I've loved what I've seen from him. All right. Keep your picks coming. No right or wrong answer in this, baby. All right. Hit me up with a text. 715-830-1912. Twitter, Facebook. Comment on the video stream if you'd like. We'll get back to more of that too. But I'm really curious to, are you starting to get into that Jordan Love hype here a little bit? It is preseason, but given, how would you grade what you have seen so far in preseason from Jordan Love? You starting to maybe buy into it a little bit more? We'll see. Just a couple more practices to go, and then that final preseason game on Saturday. Sounds like Love will play in that game and against Seattle there too. Getting more reps in there. I'm all for it. Why not? Get out there and do it. Go get more reps, and then let's hit the ground running week 1, September 10th, going up against the Chi-Town Bears at Chicago. First couple weeks going to be on the road before the home opener on the 24th. Somebody had asked me earlier if I'm going to any games. Probably not this year. I shouldn't say that. Right now, I don't have any plans. To go, but who knows? Maybe that'll change at some point. But yeah, we'll see. Nonetheless, oh man, I'm just I don't even know which one I would go to. Which one would I wouldn't mind going to the Chargers. That's deer season though, isn't it? Yeah. No, I'm not going to the Chargers one because that's the opener of deer season. Although I would like to see Justin Herbert, but other than that, Kansas City would be a good one. I would love to go see Patrick Mahomes on the 3rd. Yeah, that would probably be mine. Be a late night, very late night, but maybe somehow stay over there and do the show Monday morning from Green Bay. That'd be sweet, right? But yeah, I'd probably go see, if I had an opportunity, which I probably don't, but I'd love to go see Patrick Mahomes and such. So, but yeah, as of right now, to answer your question, I don't have any plans at this point to go to any games, but that could change. Who knows? So, all right, coming up, we'll get back to some more baseball and Packers talk here. I'm looking for that magic number, Brewers fans. Magic number. What's that magic number where you feel like if they hit that number, that number of wins, they're into the postseason? A lot of you going with the high 80s, even some low 90s over there. Probably about, if we added them up and did a little bit of an average, it's probably around 88. Probably around 88, 89, somewhere around there. So close to that 90 mark. I went with 90 on mine, but you can keep those coming. Give me those numbers. We'll get back to some more coming up here in just a little bit. We'll finish up the second hour with Morgan. Good morning, sir.
Where you feeling on your Go Pack Go, ma'am?
Ma'am?
You just called me sir.
Did I really?
Yeah. I thought we were rolling with it. I'm like, all right, that's
Oh,
fine.
man.
How's it going, sugar?
I was, my apologies.
Are you
ma'am.
low caffeine today?
No.
Just not hitting you
I
right?
just, morning routine got a little ruffled this morning, so I'm
Oh.
trying to get back into
Isn't
it.
that the worst? When you have a routine and it gets knocked off the rails, you can just kind of know the whole day is going to, like when you go to zip something and it zips wrong and does that thing where the zipper splits and you kind of force it and everything gets worse.
Yep.
What happened to throw it off?
I shut my alarm off and woke up a little bit later on.
Been there.
Yeah.
You're going to be the crooked zipper all day, bud.
Yep.
That's the way it's going to go.
Screwed me up big time this morning.
No, it's all right. I've been called worse by better. I'll answer to sir. Wow. All right. So Tuesday tussle time. We're going to ask you some rapid fire questions. You got to think of the first thing that comes to your mind. Ready?
Yeah.
Hobbies. What was your favorite hobby when you were a kid?
Well, I mean, are we factoring in sports or should I? Okay.
Sports out of the equation.
Sports out of the equation. Well, I mean, I was big into hunting and fishing still, but that was probably a big one there. Sports cards collecting and pogs.
No. Oh my God, you and my sister should get together. She's
I
got bags of those things.
Oh, I wish I still had mine. I do have.
BB Babies called. They're jealous.
No. So when I was a kid, Tombstone Pizza had the NFL football ones. And I've still got, well, I shouldn't say still. I bought one on eBay.
How many pizzas did you burn through?
A lot. Because they did the sports cards too. I've got a stack full of the baseball ones, but they got the football pogs. I still have all of them in a sheet. Favre, Aikman, Barry Sanders.
You think
Steve
they're
Young.
coming back?
No, I wish they would.
Yeah, you'd be rolling in it if they did.
Yep.
So now, do you think Hudson is inherited?
I had a pog maker.
I'm sorry, what now?
It was like a maker. Yeah.
You could make your own?
Yeah, you just like take a magazine and cut it, and like it would like.
This is next level. You were kind of like a pog factory.
Yep.
Do you remember? Speaking of that, I'll think of this because it just reminded me of throwback toys that we had. We had something. Do you remember creepy crawlers?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
One of those makers
Yep.
that, yeah, my sister and I had that where you had like the gel trays that had
Oh,
bug
yeah.
molds. It started out being bug molds, like creepy crawlers, spiders, worms, that kind of thing. And you would put like this gel in it, almost like a, like a
Yep.
gummy thing, stick them in this kind of like easy bake oven for creeps.
Yep.
And they would come out and you'd pop them out and they would be like, yeah.
I had a Terminator thing like that.
Oh, yeah?
So it was like, the robot, but
Mhm.
then you can make the skin.
See, I did not.
Yeah.
I did not.
I don't know why I had that.
Why
but I
did you
had
bring
that.
back pogs? Do that. You could make some Dan Kasper or Sports Talk pogs. Do a little station.
I think what they're called now is ball markers for golf.
Oh, well, see, there you go. Mash them up with the Casper Classic. You got a whole new idea. 2024. You're bringing back the pog.
My mug on her, because I remember I had I took a TV guide of Favre
Mhm.
and made one.
That would be your best 2024 goal seed, I think, right there.
Bringing back pogs.
You're on a mission, single-handedly.
All right.
Bring them back.
I'll show you what I got. I got the Tombstone one. So
On that note, okay, rapid fire for real this time. More of an extrovert or an introvert? What would you say?
introvert.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
100.
WAYY Eau Claire, W286CK Eau Claire, Sports Talk 105.1 and 790 AM. From the 715 Newsroom, it's Morgan McCarthy with your news on Sports Talk 105.1.
Good morning. Here's what we're looking at today. We start with headlines that include a local officer and Officer Emily Breedenbach's former K-9 partner has a new job with a new police force. The police department in Watoma yesterday said it has adopted K-9 officer Grizz. Breedenbach was gunned down on the job in April on a traffic stop in Barron County. She and another officer were shot and killed by a wanted suspect. Grizz will partner with Watoma's school resource officer and serve as a therapy dog. As we look into other headlines, we go to the Capitol level, and there's a plan to get to work and work permits. And that's when it comes to 14 and 15-year-olds in the state. A trio of lawmakers want to support legislation that would do away with the state requirement for young workers. A familiar name to our area, State Rep Clint Moses says a work permit is just another hurdle for a young worker to overcome, and that the work permit requirement slows down the hiring process and makes it more difficult for both teens and businesses in the state. When it comes to school board members in Altoona, they'll listen and continue to listen to parents. As the city school board last night dropped plans to limit public comments at school board meetings, the decision came after dozens of parents and teachers had turned out to shut down the idea, as Altoona's proposed policy stated Wisconsin law doesn't require public comments at school board meetings. As we look into some other headlines, that includes the heat and the gosh darn humidity. Eau Claire now looking at excessive heat warnings the next couple of days. Just a heads up there, especially if you have to work outside, and to keep that water and possibly AC breaks handy if you can. We go to campus at UW Parkside and UW Platteville. They're the latest Wisconsin campuses to look at serious cuts. Two schools yesterday unveiled plans for either layoffs or furloughs at their campuses. Now, Parkside is looking to furlough its entire staff to close a nearly $4 million budget gap. Platteville's looking at a combination of layoffs, early retirements, and furloughs to close its budget deficit. And more UW schools could be looking at similar cuts. Speaking of cuts, what if you just chop the day off your work week? You want to go to that more flexibility 4-day kind of working to achieve that? You're not alone.
Bankrate senior economic analyst Mark Hamrick says employers have a challenge ahead of them.
Nearly 9 out of 10 workers, those who are either working or looking for full-time work, support a 4-day work week.
Hamrick says the data from a recent Bankrate survey shows that workers are willing to change jobs and even take lower pay if it means they can work 4 days a week. I'm Trey Thomas.
You know, that's the trade-off here as well. I
even take lower pay,
but it's worth it just to see Kasper's smiling face every day. For Sports Talk 105.1, I'm Morgan McCarthy.
The heat wave starts today as high temperatures climb to the low to mid 90s later this afternoon. We'll start off with some cloud cover, give way to more sunshine later on. Dew points will be hanging out in the 70s. Otherwise clear tonight with temperatures dipping to the mid to upper 70s for our lows before we get into the peak of this heat wave tomorrow, with high temperatures in the upper 90s and even some triple digits. I'm Skywarn 13 meteorologist Mike D'Andrea.
It's time for some farm news on Sports Talk 105.1. Fewer cattle and calves are in feedlots, according to the latest Cattle on Feed report released by the USDA. Inventory of cattle in feedlots of 1,000 head or more totaled 11 million head on August 1st, 2% below last year's numbers. Placements in feedlots in July totaled 1.6 million head. That's down 8% from July 2022. And beef harvest numbers were lower again last week, according to DATCAP's weekly livestock market update. 603,000 head were harvested last week, 10,000 fewer than the previous week, and 42,000 head fewer than the same week last year. Beef exports are not keeping up with last year's record pace. June exports were 12% lower. Export value was also down 13%. Exports account for just over 14% of total June beef production, down 15.5% from a year ago. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers, together with Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation Secretary and CEO Missy Hughes and a delegation of Wisconsin companies, will visit Europe in September on a trade mission. 10 Wisconsin companies will attend the mission, with stops in Belgium, Amsterdam, and Netherlands. Belgium was one of Wisconsin's top 10 destinations for products in 2021, and the Netherlands was 11th. The goal of this mission is to pursue new trade relationships and showcase more of the state's products. And the fair season is winding down, but there is still some around the area this week. The Central Wisconsin State Fair in Marshfield kicks off today with junior swine judging at 8 o'clock this morning, junior beef judging at 9, and junior sheep judging at noon. The Price County Fair in Phillips starts tomorrow, and the Adams County Fair in Friendship starts on Thursday. All three fairs run through the weekend. And that's our farm news on Sports Talk 105.1. I'm Jill Welke.
You'd do anything to keep your vehicle happy. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, the parts that fit are just a click away. Just look for the green check, ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Crank it up.
Hey, are you ready today? Get up. He's on his way. He's our man. The myth, the legend, that's Dan.
105.1
And now, the Dan Kasper Show.
All right, here we go. Second hour kicking off right now on this Tuesday morning of August 22nd. Stay cool out there, peeps. If you got to be outside working today, all right, be safe out there. Don't forget about the kiddos and the pets out there too. Okay. Coming up next hour, we're going to get to some college football talk. RJ Cardinal will be joining us. We know the college football season. We got some games starting this weekend. Badgers will kick off next Saturday, the 2nd against Buffalo. So we'll chat some more college football with RJ. Jim Harbaugh apparently imposing a self-imposed 3-game suspension to begin the season here. So, but we'll catch up with RJ and hear his thoughts on everything college football wise. We'll get back to some more Brewers chat as well. Brew Crew Twins going at it, 7-10 tonight. Game 1, Wade Miley on the mound for the Crew. Bailey's going up there for the Twins. So Brewers holding on to a 2.5 game lead over those pesky Cubs. Cubs just won't go away. Twins a little bit more of a comfortable lead in their division over Cleveland, 6-game lead for the Twins in the AL Central. But we'll get back to some more baseball talk. We're looking for those magic numbers for the Brew Crew. Where do you think that magic number is for the Brewers? Where you feel like, all right, if they hit that, they're into the postseason. They're into the postseason. Average looks to be high 80s, around 88, 89 for a lot of you right now. So we'll get back to some green and gold chat here. We got a text question from Matthew here I want to get to in a second. But first, let's open up this hour with some sports nuggets of the day brought to you by Ansay Associates. 1950, Althea Gibson became the first black tennis player to be accepted into a national competition. 1951, 75,052 people watched the Harlem Globetrotters perform. It was the largest crowd to see a basketball game at that time. Nolan Ryan, 1989, became the first major league pitcher to strike out 5,000 batters. Still feel like that's one of those records that will not be broken, is Nolan Ryan's strikeout record. And that's about it. Yeah, those are just some of your sports nuggets of the day brought to you by Ansay Associates. I know I had a little fun on it with Twitter yesterday, but jinxed them. The Ravens preseason win streak officially over with, thanks to the Commanders. All right, so to answer this question that got on the texting line here, who do you think would be the big surprise cut for the Packers when they trim their rosters down to 53? This is from Matthews. Or from Matthew, excuse me, Matthews. Yeah, Clay Matthews, right? This is from Matthew. I am the surprise cut. I wonder if it's one of those safeties. I'm just looking at, and when I say like surprises, could it be a guy like Rudy Ford? Could it be, Jonathan Owens or something like that? I'm curious to see how many they actually keep on their roster. 5 might be the max I would think that you'd have to have on there. 6 would just be a lot. And I know they prioritize, that last year they started it with Rich Bisaccia coming over and adding special teams players on there. But, oh, man, that's a tough, especially with the whole will Rasul Douglas actually play safety or not sort of thing out there. I think Rasul's kind of having some fun with it, with the media. But, man, if I had to make a pick right now, maybe one of those safeties, because I think there's not going to be a surprise one with wide receiver, tight end, defensive line, linebackers. That's a tough one, really, because they're so young already. There's not really any big-time veterans that would be a surprise. When you think of surprise cuts, you go back a few years ago when it was Josh Sitton, right? That surprised a lot of people at that point, or anything like that. But maybe one of those safeties I'd probably pick. Could be a surprise cut, maybe. Royce Newman, going back to the interior offensive line, I think there's a couple of openings there for these final practices and this final preseason game coming up here. I think there's, a job to be won or a couple jobs to be won. They're set with their tackles, with their backup tackles and such, but the interior line I think is still open here a little bit. Hansen could be in the running for one of those, but he seems to always get banged up. Royce Newman, does he have an advantage because he's logged so many snaps and he's started games for the Packers that, a couple weeks ago I would have thought he's out, but now I think he makes the ball club just because of the depth over there or lack thereof of depth. But maybe he will be considered one of those surprise cuts. I'm not sure, but no, right now, I guess maybe a Pat O'Donnell would qualify as a little bit of a surprise one if they go with Daniel Whalen, the rookie. So maybe that could be qualifying as a surprise one. Yeah, I'd probably go safety or Pat O'Donnell if they cut him at this point, but we'll see. So how about I'll throw it back to everybody out there. If you got a bold prediction of a surprise cut, maybe it might be a little too early to do that with one more preseason game left to go. But if you have one on the top of your head or in your mind right now, come on, play along with the rest of us. All right, hit us up with a text or a tweet over there. To kind of go through some more messages here, the player or players that have surprised you so far in camp. Got a couple of you acknowledging Jordan Love. This is from Steve. Steve said, I wasn't the biggest Jordan Love fan. I was very skeptical about his future here. Not to put too much on preseason, but I got to admit that he has looked solid in his limited playing time in preseason so far. Hopefully that transitions into the regular season. This one is from Seth. Seth also saying Jordan Love. Jordan Love has looked pretty good in his first preseason games here. Don't know if that will transition into the regular season, but there's a lot to be excited about for the future if this is the version of Jordan Love that we are going to see for years to come. All right, so we got a couple of people at least on the Jordan Love train or kind of maybe jumping on there, right? I wasn't a big fan of the Jordan Love draft selection when it first happened. Is that 2020? I'm trying to, was it 2020? 2019, somewhere around there? The COVID draft, I know that. But, hey, guys had some good moments. He's had a little bit of an up and down. I know before that that final preseason or the preseason game against the Patriots, a lot of the beat writers who were keeping track of the numbers and stats and his throws and attempts and all that, had his completion percentage just a little over 50. You'd like to see that higher, closer to, at least around 60. When it gets to the regular season, you'd like to see your quarterback in the 60s, low 60s, bare minimum somewhere around there. So hopefully that'd be one thing you'd like to see improve is the consistency. And that doesn't factor in drops and all that. And I get that, you got to kind of factor that stuff in there at that point too. But no, I'm excited to see what Love can do and to see if he is the future here, right? Because I already guarantee you with the love affair, and I've got no problem with the love affair with Clifford going on right now. There's a lot to be excited about. A young backup over there, a backup that has shown that he's not afraid to be aggressive in these preseason games. But I can already picture it. I can already imagine this, that it's going to happen. If Love gets off to a slow start this regular season, like a slow September, and he's up and down or he's mostly down, you're already going to hear the calls to start Sean Clifford. You're already going to hear that. It's going to happen. It's going to happen on Twitter. It's going to happen on Facebook. It's going to happen all over. There's going to be calls to start Sean Clifford. There's probably even going to be some media people even saying the same thing. If Jordan Love starts off the season slow or he's struggling a little bit there, you're going to hear the calls to start Sean Clifford. I can already picture it. I can already see it happening. right? I'm sure the rest of you can too. We'll get back to some more of your picks, but in case you're just joining us, we were looking for, is there a players, or what has really stood out to you? What has really stood out to you so far in these first couple of preseason games? Okay. Hit us up, 715-830-1912. We got some more magic number picks for the Brewers. We got a 93. We got a 93 on there. We've got an 87. Got an 89 also on there too. So, all right. Still, I would say the average is about 88, 89, somewhere around there. That magic number 90 sort of thing. So, but just looking at this final schedule here for the Crew. This is the time now for the Crew to get on a run, get hot. Finish this last quarter of the season on a hot streak here. Get in a little bit of a groove here. Get that momentum. So when you get to the postseason, you're riding that train. You're riding that momentum. The pitching is clicking. I think we're confident in the pitching. Starting pitching, back end bullpen, that sort of stuff. I think we just want the momentum to come from the offense. Now's the time to kick it into gear. All right, you went up against Texas. You swept Texas. A highly offensive, powerful offensive team over there. Now hopefully this is a kind of a kickoff sort of thing into this final quarter of the regular season where the consistency is starting to come. Willie Adames had a good series against Texas. Could this be a springboard for him? Santana had a good series. Can this be a springboard for him to finish off this regular season and get to the postseason where those two guys are hitting really well at the plate? Can they help solidify that middle of the order, that batting lineup there? Willie Adames, if he can get it going, if he can start to produce at the plate at a consistent rate, it's a huge boost for that offensive lineup, especially in the middle of the order. I think we're at this point now where we're good with Yelich and Contreras. I shouldn't say we're good, but we're comfortable. We're confident. We know what to expect. There's going to be some consistency there from Yelich and Contreras. Now, if you add a Willie Adames to the middle of that order and he starts producing at the plate at a consistent rate, now we're cooking. So I want to see now with these final 37 games for the Brewers, these final 37, I want to see the momentum start to pick up. I want to see some winning streaks going on here. I want to see, like in your last 10 games, you're 8-2, 9-1, or just whatever. A lot of wins, not only just to clinch that spot, but get into the postseason playing your best baseball. Now is the time to kick it into gear and to get that momentum. And it starts with the Twinnies. Sorry, Twins, but it's got to start with you tonight. And then let's get into this final quarter and win a bunch of games and ride that momentum into the postseason. Because that's, to me, if the Brewers want to make a run in the postseason, they want to win some games and make a deep run, they need momentum. They can't go in limping or playing subpar ball or playing 500 or a little under 500 ball. They can't do that. They want any chance at all to make a run. They need momentum on their side, and now it's got to start. It's got to start right now. All right, let's take a quick break here. Talk some more green and gold coming up in just a few minutes.
You're listening to the Dan Kasper Show.
When it comes to your health and well-being, trust the experts at Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Their dedicated team of orthopedic specialists is there to help you regain your mobility, conquer pain, and get back to doing what you love. They offer personalized care that's as unique as you are. So don't let pain hold you back. Rediscover your strength with Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Just visit cvosm.com to get started. Your journey to a pain-free life begins at Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
America is kept safe because the Army National Guard responds, protects, and supports our nation when it needs them most. From fighting wildfires with air support, helping civilians in flooded neighborhoods, to delivering food and supplies to those who have lost everything, the Army National Guard always responds when disaster strikes. The Army National Guard also trains to be ever vigilant against threats, foreign and domestic. They protect our skies with missile defense weaponry. They secure our information, communications, and infrastructure with cybersecurity. And they protect us against chemical, biological, and radiological hazards with the civilian support team. The Army National Guard also stands ready to deploy and provide support for conflicts or humanitarian missions abroad. Join the Army National Guard and be there to respond, protect, and support your community and your country. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
If Culligan isn't treating your home's water, you likely have water problems all around you, like hard-to-clean chalky residue on your shower, faucets, and bath, stains around your sink drains, spots on your dishes and glassware, plus dull, dried-out hair and skin, and problems you don't see, like scaly buildup in the water heater and pipes. But have no fear. You're in the clear with Culligan Products and Service. For all your residential and commercial water filtration needs,
visit CulliganH2O.com for your local Culligan water dealer.
A lot of folks around here are breathing easier because of Grace Home Respiratory. They appreciate that Grace Home Respiratory is a local company that puts customer service first. They appreciate that Grace Home Respiratory provides an array of medical equipment, services, and supplies to help their recovery and enhance their quality of life. They appreciate that Grace Home Respiratory has the experience and qualifications that exceed their expectations. So when you need home medical equipment and services, turn to Grace Home Respiratory not only for the equipment you need, but for their dedicated staff of respiratory therapists who are on call 24 hours a day. To find out more, call Grace Home Respiratory at 715-832-7377 or online at ghr-ec.com.
Grace Home Respiratory always has your health and safety as their top priority. Your expert when it comes to medical equipment and supplies. Choose Grace Home Respiratory.
Carpet City Flooring Center did it again, people. Some of the magic that they are able to do is pretty impressive. So, quick backstory. We had a couple of bedrooms that needed some new carpet. We went to Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire, and they helped us pick an awesome looking and feeling carpet. And a couple weeks later, installed the new carpet in our rooms. Now the bedrooms in our house look and feel completely different. In a good way. The instant you walk into these rooms, you are in a better mood. My 6-year-old is even spending more time in his room because of the carpet. He tells everyone he has a brand new bedroom. So if you are in the need of a new floor for your home or office, why would you look anywhere else besides Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire? Trick question. You shouldn't be. So go visit our good friends Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire today at 3109 East Hamilton Avenue in Eau Claire. The team at Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire will help you find that new floor that looks good in your home and looks perfect within your budget.
My part-time service in the Army National Guard makes it possible for me to be more for the community I call home. My training helps me at work when I lead by example. The Army National Guard has taught me the value of showing respect to those I come in contact with each day. My service also allows me to be there for my community in ways others can't. I help my hometown recover after nature strikes. My service in the Army National Guard allows me to keep my country and those I care about safe from threats. I also work with a network of professionals that help me succeed and accomplish the mission. Plus, the Army National Guard education benefits make getting a higher education a reality. Being an Army National Guard soldier makes living and serving in my community more rewarding every day. Learn how you too can live and serve part-time, close to home by visiting NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Maybe you miss parts of the Dan Kasper Show because of the clown that lives in the sewer.
Radio will do.
Don't worry, you can get highlights of the show on the Man Cave podcast, available on your favorite podcasting platforms.
When it comes to updating your flooring, nobody is better in the game than Carpet City Flooring Center, Wisconsin's premier flooring store. We had to update the flooring in the man cave there. New carpet, new tile. Ryan, the installer, did a fantastic job over there. The attention to detail is what really stood out to me. Not only, just because it looks flipping awesome and better and updated all across the board, but the attention to detail, even, the trim underneath the cupboards, trim around the corners there where we didn't have anything there before because the people who owned the house prior, you could tell, tried to cut some corners and was, trying to, fill in some gaps the wrong way and that sort of thing. But nonetheless, we've got that video coming up here, a little before and after video I'm working on. With the amazing work that Carpet City Flooring Center did with our man cave there. So make sure you're looking for that. It'll be up on the socials here in the next couple of days and such. But if you are in the markets for changing up some flooring in your home, whether it is your man cave or maybe it's your bedroom, home office or your office, bathroom, whatever it may be, Carpet City Flooring Center is your go-to place to go. From tile, carpet, luxury vinyl, whatever the case may be, head on over to Carpet City Flooring Center. They'll work with you to find that floor that works within your budget and looks perfect in your home. It's what they did for Veronica and myself. They helped us pick out the selection, the colors that would work, and the ones that would perform the best in the man cave too. So can't wait to show you guys the finished project once we post that up here in the next couple of days here. Got to make a couple edits on the video and such, but can't wait to showcase that for all of you. And big thanks again for Carpet City Flooring Center for doing such fantastic work and being awesome to work with over there too. So, all right, bottom of the hour here. Let's get back to some more green and gold chat here this morning. 2 games into the preseason, 1 more preseason game left to go. Just a couple more practices left to go here. Joe, with just a couple more practices left to go in that final preseason game, what position groups, what jobs do you think are still up in the air for the Packers?
Well, I think you got to look at that third running back position. So I think that's highly competitive right now. I think you look at that wide receiver room. I think that's highly competitive with a job that Heath is doing and some of these other guys that are lower on that depth chart. I think offensive line, and, Captain, you and I talked about this. I think the Green Bay Packers and Brian Gutekunst have found themselves another left tackle. And the way that Walker has been playing as far as coming in now into season 2, and also Sean Ryan. I want to mention him because he pretty much had a lost rookie year last year. But you've got now Walker playing that left tackle, and you look at his feet. And you look at his arms, and he is just a prototypical build for that left tackle position. So I think now you're seeing a little bit of when you draft someone and you say, well, that guy's a bust and he's not going to play. That's why that year 1 to year 2 jump and that year 2 to year 3 jump is so critical. So I want to see how that offensive line shakes out because, again, Zach Tom was also part of that draft class. So you're looking at these guys now and you're saying that was an impressive draft looking at it in season 2 now compared to what you saw last year. So just some good stuff there. And again, I'm looking at offensive line. I'm looking at wide receiver room. I'm still looking at that safety room. And I thought Sean Clifford pretty much put himself in the driver's seat for that number 2 position.
Are you saying there's a quarterback bat? I'm just kidding right now. So
don't even go. That's the thing with social media. And I go back many a year, and I'm glad looking back on it that there wasn't social media, because the people that are jumping on this and saying that there's a quarterback controversy have no idea what football is about. They are your typical Monday morning quarterback, your armchair quarterback who probably never played or coached the game.
You know what's going to happen, though, if Jordan Love starts off the regular season slow, you're going to start to hear calls for Sean. I already imagine. I'm already mentally preparing myself for heading into October if Jordan Love starts off slow to get those tweets or X's or whatever the heck they're calling them these days.
Yeah, I agree with you, and again, it just the average Joe Six-Pack fan, and I can say that because my name's Joe. It's the grass is always greener, whether it be the quarterback, whether it be the coach, whether it be the GM. It's easy to pull the plug and pull the trigger on something when you're not in the position of power or influence. And so it makes for good banter. It makes for good barstool talk, but that's all it is.
Has my Lindsey Pipkins Memorial watch list player Malik Heath won a spot on this roster?
No question. I think no question. I think, you might, interestingly enough, you might not see some, depending on how things shake out. Samori Toure could be out of a position. I don't think so. But the way this thing shakes out, I think Heath has definitely earned himself a position. And you look at, he really is almost Alan Lazard. And when I say that, I mean doing the little things to make a difference. And I think that's just such an important part of this offense, whether it be blocking on the outside, whether it be, doing the grunt work, blocking on the inside, getting the yak, those types of things. I think he has really built himself not only a spot on the roster, but it wouldn't surprise me at all if by the end of the year, this guy becomes, again, like Alan Lazard did towards the end of his first year, where you started seeing more plays designed for him and he was out in the field more. So, yeah, he's great to watch, and it's fun to watch. And I will say this, that just going back to the draft class and draft and develop and those types of things, love what I'm seeing out of Luke Musgrave and Jaden Reed. I just that second round, a lot of question marks. I think people thought Reed might have been drafted a little bit too high at that point. Musgrave had the injuries, but you're seeing a lot of explosiveness with those two players. And I also thought Lucas Van Ness showed. I thought we always talk about either stacking good practices after another, or rebounding from a bad practice or game. I didn't think Lucas Van Ness played well in preseason game number 1, but I thought he showed a little bit more field awareness, holding the edge, not getting washed out, those types of things. And so I was impressed with him as well. A lot of good things to take from that game. That throw from Jordan Love to Romeo Dobbs, you just can't hand it off any better than he did. It was a good throw, good coverage, and a great catch by Dobbs. So again, some really good things from the younger players, first-year players, second-year players, to pull from that game from this past weekend.
Joe Duano joining us here this morning, chatting some green and gold. Going back to the edge rushers, you mentioned Lucas Van Ness, Kingsley, JJ, whatever we want to call him, Enoch Barre, with a fantastic game Saturday. How do you feel about that edge rushing depth with what you saw from Kingsley as well Saturday night?
You know what? Very impressive. And again, these are the types of things we're talking about, year 1 to year 2, year 2 to year 3 types of players. And it makes you feel a little bit better now with Rashawn Gary still coming back from that injury, that you've got some depth there. And I think right now in Igbari, no question in my mind is that third outside backer could possibly be starting if Rashawn Gary doesn't start the year. So, yeah, it just really nice moves. And then you look at the two young defensive tackles, Wooden and Brooks. Carl Brooks, in my opinion, when you look at, and I always go back to Clay Matthews, and I look at younger players, and if younger players who play defense, whether it's that linebacker position or defensive line, have violent hands, if they have violent hands, they're going to go a long way. And I just think Brooks was such a find for this Green Bay team. And I think also he's going to be part of that early rotation on the defensive line.
Going to Jordan Love there too. I know, we were talking a little bit about Rich Eisen yesterday on his show, was very complimentary towards Love. Dan Orlovsky this morning was doing a segment on Love, breaking it down and singing the praises of Jordan Love. I know I asked you this after the first preseason game, but now you got a couple more games into this. How you feeling about Jordan Love as we approach the regular season right now?
With no question, a lot better. And again, I'll be the first one, Captain, to say I was wrong if Jordan Love comes out and balls out. Because again, since day one, I have not been pro Jordan Love, but the improvement in the footwork, the improvement in how he sees the game, the improvement in the little things that make a difference between a good quarterback and a great quarterback, you're seeing those little things and you're seeing those little improvements. And so I think, I'm very encouraged. And it looks like to me that this kid took the last 3 seasons and really learned how to play the game and really how to play the game from an NFL quarterback position, because it's very easy when you look at Jordan Love's college tape to get enamored with the arm and the athleticism. But it's that mental part of the game from a quarterback perspective, and I don't care what level you're at. I don't care if it's high school. I don't care if it's college. I don't care if it's the pros. It's between the years that make a difference with a quarterback. And you're just seeing the game slowing down for him. So right now, and again, I saw that I think the over-under for him this year is 3,500 yards. And so I'm leaning towards the over. And again, if he's healthy, I'm really looking at right now, based on what I'm seeing, probably a 3,800, 4,000 yard season. And Packer fans, wouldn't surprise me at all if you see a 27 TD, 15 interception type of season based on what we're seeing right now. And I think any Packer fan would take that in a heartbeat if you're getting 25 plus touchdowns and somewhere in that 15, 16 interceptions. He's not going to be Aaron Rodgers. He's going to throw picks. There's going to be mistakes. It's a young team. They're going to have to get better as the season goes on. And so, yeah, you're going to see those mistakes. But do I feel a lot better about him today than I did 6 months ago? Absolutely. Do I feel a lot better about him today than I did a week ago? Yeah, absolutely. You're stacking games. You're stacking practices. And that's such a key part for a young player.
The thing with Love too, the Romeo Dobbs throw and catch, and then the throw to Jane Reed for that touchdown. What impressed me the most, though, on that drive was, with that Jane Reed touchdown throw, with that free safety blitz, it picked up by A.J. Dillon, but Love didn't panic. He stood in there, did a couple little subtle side steps with his feet. He wasn't panicking. He stayed in the pocket there, and he made a tight throw. I think that to me is what impressed me the most so far. Not the deep throw or the tight throw. It was just him not panicking back there.
Yeah, pocket awareness. And it's interesting. You and I both follow Packer Media, Packer Social, if you will, Cheesehead TV. And they were able to splice a video of Aaron Rodgers against the Pittsburgh Steelers, spliced next to and alongside the Jordan Love throw to Jaden Reed, and it was almost identical. And again, you look at being able to learn from someone like Aaron Rodgers and being able to pick up the nuances of the game with really, truly, and again, one of the best to throw the football of all time in the NFL. And you see it. And it was just, if you get a chance, if anyone gets a chance, go on Twitter, look up Cheesehead TV. And again, look at that back-to-back or that side-to-side of Aaron Rodgers throwing to Randall Cobb and Jordan Love throwing to Jaden Reed. It will blow your mind. It is so uncanny how similar it is.
Mm-hmm. All right. So with the final game in these last couple of practices coming up here, Joe, is there a player that you think, or players that you think are on that bubble that really need to stand out in these last couple practices, or have a really good game on Saturday to maybe win a job, to be that Desmond Howard, maybe to win a job in the final game?
Ooh, great question. I'll start it off with an unsexy position, but I think, guys like Royce Newman right now, I think he's squarely on the bubble. I think Jake Hansen is squarely on the bubble. I think a couple of guys like that are. I look at right now, I would say Samori Toure is a little bit, if you're going to use the Desmond Howard, I think he might be the guy that needs to have kind of a breakout game right now to make a huge difference and to make this team. And so I think I'm going to circle him as if we're going the Desmond Howard route and the ability to win a spot at a position like that, I'm gonna go with Torrey because I think they're giving him a shot as that number 2 returner behind Keyshawn Nixon, and so he hasn't shown the spark yet, but I think it's still there. So yeah, if you're going that route, I'm going to go with Samari Torrey.
Yeah, it's interesting. I agree with you. Like I was talking yesterday, locks for wide receivers, and I only got 3 locks, and that's Watson, Dobbs, and Jaden Reed at this point. And I don't have Samari Torrey over there. I'd probably almost put Malik Heath maybe a little bit higher than Samari Torrey. Am I nuts thinking that?
No, not at all. I think that is. I think that's squarely that's a guy. Everyone talked about Torrey working out this offseason, gaining some muscle, looking really good when the shorts on. But when the pads go on, and you get a physical receiver and a physical football player like Malik Heath, it makes a world of difference. And I just think right now, if I were doing a Packer depth chart, and this is a good problem to have because if you're looking at Samari Torrey and that is going to be, a guy that might get cut because someone else outplayed him, you're in a good position if you're the Green Bay Packers. So yeah, that's a guy I would circle right now that really needs to have a game, I think, this Saturday to make this football team.
All right, Joseph. Appreciate the time. Appreciate the breakdowns as usual. Enjoy the rest of the week. Enjoy the final preseason game, and then we can start talking 53-man roster projections next week, sir.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Captain, just real quick. So I am out here at Eau Claire Memorial at football practice right now today, and we moved our practice to 6 a.m. this morning to make sure we get our kids in and out of the heat quickly this morning. And so there's just nothing like it. There's nothing like this time of year. We got Friday Night Lights, ECM with a big win last week against Logan, play Central this Friday night. We got college football starting on Saturday. And then, of course, we've got the Green Bay Packers last preseason game on Saturday. Captain, there's just not a better time of year. And if the weather was about 15 degrees cooler, it'd be even better. But those times will come soon enough. But it is you got Friday Night Lights, you got college football Saturdays, and just a couple of weeks away from NFL Sunday. So we're in a good spot, Captain, very much so.
Absolutely. Totally agree, man. Totally agree. All right, you guys stay safe out there. Hydrate, base pace hydrate. And hey, we'll catch up again soon, okay, sir?
All right, brother. Take care, man.
You got it. There you go. There's Joe DeGuano joining us here this morning. We got to take a quick break, and we'll wrap up the second hour. Don't forget, it is Tuesday, Grind My Gears Tuesday. We already had a few coming in the first hour. If you haven't texted in what's grinding your gears, hit us up, all right? We'll be back in just a couple minutes. Get ready to rev up your driving experience at Toyson Ford, your ultimate destination for top-notch vehicles and exceptional service. Whether you are in the market for a sleek new car, rugged truck, or a versatile SUV, Toyson Ford has the ride that suits your style and needs. Toyson Ford's commitment to quality and customer satisfaction is unmatched. Experience the thrill of driving a Ford backed by their dedicated team's expertise. Don't miss out on the best in automotive excellence. Visit Toyson Ford today or explore their inventory at toysonford.com. Got about 9 minutes left, 10 minutes left to the top of the hour here. Coming up next hour, we'll catch up with RJ Carter. We're going to get to some Badger football chat. College football starting up this weekend. Badgers will kick off starting next weekend, though. But yeah, Badgers again. Was it the USA Today poll? I think out there. Badgers again, another pick to come out of the West over there. So, but we'll catch up on all things Badgers with Mr. Cardinal in the 8 o'clock or about 8:20, 8:25 here this morning. Catching up on some more messages here. We were asking what was the magic number for you, for the Brew Crew, to maybe where you feel like, okay, if they hit that number of wins, I'm feeling good that they're going to get into the postseason. Wild card, division, whatever. It's still around 88, 89. We've got a couple more 88 picks. We got an 86 pick on there. We got a 91 pick on there. So it's still high 80s, maybe a little bit around that low 90 mark on there. So yeah, that's kind of where everybody's at right now. 37 more games to go. You get to 90. You got to win 22 more. They're at 68 wins right now at this point in time. So, but looking at kind of the latest updates in the wild card chase, or the playoff chase, excuse me, not a whole lot has changed. National League and in American League here a little. I mean, you got in the National League, Atlanta, Dodgers, Milwaukee still number one in their divisions, but still feel like this National League wild card chase is going to come all the way down to the finish line, perhaps the final weekend of the season, because Philadelphia is holding on to that number one wild card spot right now. But then it's the Cubs, San Francisco holding on to the final one. Arizona is just a half game out. Cincinnati is just a game out. Miami just as 1.5 out. And right now the Padres are 5.5 out. So, even looking ahead to this series coming up this weekend with the Brewers and the Padres have a lot to play for in that one. Don't necessarily overlook the Padres if you're a Brewers fan, with the Padres coming to town starting on Friday night. That could potentially be a big series for the Padres if they want to try to claw back into this thing and get a wild card spot. That could be a big one for them. So hopefully the Brewers are going to be ready to get tested and get a fight from the Padres. I'm just kind of looking at the Padres' upcoming schedule here too. So they got the Brewers and they got the Cardinals after that. Then they face the Giants and then the Phillies and then that is a brutal schedule to start September. You got Giants, Phillies, Astros, Dodgers. Oof. Yeah, that's brutal for the Pods right there. American League wise, nothing really changed. Tampa, you got Baltimore, Texas, and Minnesota still leading their division. Tampa, Houston, Seattle still holding on to the wild card spots. Toronto, a game back. Boston's fallen a little bit further, though. They're 4 games out of a wild card spot right now. And then there's just Angels are the next closest at 9 back from a wild card right now. So, but starting to getting closer to wrapping up as we enter this final quarter of the Major League Baseball season. Also catching up on some other texts here from our question where we asked you, who or what has stood out to you so far in the first couple of games of the preseason for the Packers. Got a couple more Jordan Love picks out there. He's obviously the big one out there for a lot of people, not only just for Packers fans, but for the national people out there. Quarterback, replacing a legend. We all know it. That's He's the big one out there. So we got a couple more picks for him. We got a couple of picks for the young wide receivers over there too. This is from Ben, saying, besides Romeo Dobbs and Christian Watson, I've been impressed with Jaden Reed, Malik Heath, and heard good stuff about Dontavian Wicks. Hopefully those guys can be the future of a stud wide receiver group for the Packers. This is from Chad, not C-Bomb, but a different Chad, saying that Luke Musgrave, all reports sound like he could be the real deal. Hopefully he can stay healthy and be effective when it comes to the regular season. That's the thing about like Musgrave. We've heard great things in training camp, and I think maybe some fans are just kind of waiting for that to pop up in preseason games. Yeah, obviously Love missed him in the first one there, but been lighting it up in practice, it sounds like. So kind of hard to believe preseason's already wrapping up here too, right? Holy moly. But yeah, it is what it is. A couple more here. We got I've been impressed with the defensive line, says Travis here. Outside of Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt looks like he made a jump in his second year, and the two rookies, we've heard nothing but positive things about them. Be nice to have a rotation to keep everybody fresh on the defensive line. Another one here, don't have a name for this one, but going with the offensive line depth, sounds like we have a couple of backup tackles that, if called upon, can play some, I think this is supposed to say, play some solid minutes. I'm assuming you mean in the regular season there. But play some solid minutes in the regular season. We'll see if we have any guard depth after this week. It must be a little talk to text there, but looks like they're talking about the backup tackles. I'm assuming referring to Walker and Nyman, Yash Nyman over there as some positive depth. And you're right. Like, I thought Yash Nyman was going to be the left tackle of the future, but it looks like Walker might be that guy now. And it looks like he might be the future potentially at left tackle if David Bakhtiari calls it a career, moves on to a different ball club. I still feel like this is the final year for Bakhtiari, just cap reasons and such. But I thought it was going to be Yash, but it might be Walker now. Got to give the guy a lot of credit. Got to get in that. Might mean Yash Nyman is somewhere else next year, but who knows? We got a lot of time before that even plays out, right? A lot of time before that even plays out here. So, all right. How about this too? If you have any questions for Mr. RJ Cardinal, our Badger analyst, coming up in about 20 minutes, 25 minutes or so, send those puppies on over. All right. We'll send some over to RJ here for you. 715-830-1912. We'll get your thoughts on that college football. Starting up this weekend, we got some games. Obviously, we know DP, Dan Patrick, they're in Dublin getting ready for the Navy Notre Dame game coming up this weekend. I know we got quite a few local people who have some ties to Ohio, the Ohio Bobcats. They're going to get started off this weekend as well. Badgers will kick off next weekend against Buffalo. So we'll chat some more Badgers and college football with Mr. RJ Cardinal. Jim Harbaugh self-imposing a 3-game suspension. Originally, remember, it was a few weeks ago, there was a talk about a 4-game now, and then like the NCAA declined it or didn't accept it, and now they're going to do a 3-game. I don't know if this will help them for next year to alleviate some penalties or not, but who the heck knows? But you look at the schedule for Michigan, and it's like, okay, they got national title aspirations, and I don't think Harbaugh missing the first 3 games on their schedule there is really going to affect it too much for Michigan. So, but we'll get RJ's thoughts on all that stuff coming up in about 20-25 minutes or so. Don't forget, it is a Grind My Gears Tuesday. We had a few of you chiming in the first hour on your Grind My Gears Tuesday. So if you got anything else that you want to pass along, let us know. Hit us up. Okay, get it off your chest. Hit us up with those text, tweets, Facebook messages, or comment on the video stream, whatever is grinding your gears on this Grind My Gears Tuesday. 2 in already. Is it hot out there yet? I haven't stepped outside in a few hours. Quick news updates. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Third and final hour kicking off on this Tuesday morning of August 22nd. Appreciate you tuning in wherever, however you may be tuning in. Get a couple radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also online, sportstalk1051.com. You can stream us up there. Google and Alexa home devices as well. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll catch up on some college football chat with the college football season beginning this weekend. Badgers will kick off next weekend. But we'll catch up with RJ Cardinal from the Zone in Madison. Before that, though, we're catching up with our good friend, General Manager Sammy from the Eau Claire Express. How you doing this morning, Sammy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm not bad. I know you're an Oregon fan, so are you getting ready for college football coming up here for your Ducks? Or
I am. Yeah, I'm excited, especially with the move to the Big Ten.
Yeah.
I'm excited to be able to go to a lot more Oregon games.
That's
coming up.
true. Yeah, because I mean, you'd imagine they're going to be in Minnesota at some point, Wisconsin
Hopefully,
over there too.
I was telling my fiance, I said, I wish there was a way for me to get season tickets for the away games.
Yeah, right. Because that's was it? I don't know if it's starting next year or maybe in a couple of years.
I thought it said 2024. He
Okay.
thinks 2026.
Okay, so
we'll see. Either way, I'm
Yeah.
excited.
yeah, right. So I got to imagine you went to when you were over there. You've gone to some Ducks
Oh
games.
yeah.
And all that, so.
All 4 years at Oregon, I had season tickets as like a
Nice.
student.
So were you there around the same time? Like, was it Justin Herbert was the quarterback there?
Yeah, Marcus
Okay.
was the quarterback my last year.
Okay.
So my freshman year, which was the 2014-15 season,
Mhm.
when he won his Heisman campaign.
Nice.
And then we had Justin and Dakota
Okay.
and oh my gosh, who else? We went through so many quarterbacks
Mhm.
but Justin ended up being
Yeah.
that star
That's
and
got to be
being
cool.
from Sheldon, and I watched Justin play
Mhm.
high school baseball, and
Oh, really? I didn't
yeah,
know. Oh, that's awesome.
back when I was with like my high school boyfriend and all my guy friends played baseball,
Mhm.
we played against Sheldon in playoffs.
Okay.
And so Justin and his brothers were,
Interesting.
going through high school the same time I was, and so we played against Sheldon a lot in
Nice.
baseball.
Nice. You might have to. I mean, Justin's coming to Green Bay here.
Oh,
and-
I've already got my tickets thanks to Jacob.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. I did not know that. That's awesome. So,
Oh yeah.
All right.
And the Vikings and sorry for speaking of that.
No, you're
but,
good.
The Vikings and the Chargers play the day after our wedding.
Oh, wow. Are you going to that game or?
There's a
you-
good chance we're going to that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
My brother
Don't
and I
party
haven't.
too hard the night.
I know.
That
My
night.
brother and I haven't had a chance to watch Justin play yet in NFL, and we haven't gone to a game together since my freshman year of college.
Oh, wow. And it's perfect time because I mean your brother lives in Alaska,
Yeah.
so if he's going to be in town
Exactly.
to go catch that game,
Mhm.
so everything just works out like that,
I
right?
know. I know.
That's
It's
awesome.
perfect.
So, well, I mean, I know the Express season has been over with for a couple or about a week now.
A week
Yeah, a week
yesterday.
yesterday. Was it Green Bay ended up winning the
They
Northwoods
did, and
League?
I was really excited for them. Their first championship.
Mhm.
They got a great organization over there. We got to take the interns to a Rockers game a couple weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago today, and it's a cool atmosphere.
Mhm.
They have these loud smoke machines that set off with home runs, and when they do their starting lineup, and we were sitting behind the visiting team's dugout. And they were playing the Madison Mallards, and the Mallards all just turned around and just stared at us with their ears plugged. And Jacob and his fiance were with us, and they gave me a heads up of what was about to happen. And I didn't say anything to anyone else. And all of a sudden, the cannons just shoot off, and everyone just is startled, and little kids are crying, and the Mallards are just hysterically laughing because they know what's going to happen. And it doesn't matter how much you plug your ears or how prepared you are, it still startles you, and it's
Really?
so loud.
So that's quite the game day experience, kind of leading up to that. Holy cow, man! Because they're the Rockers now, right?
Yep.
Because they used to be, was it the Bullfrogs before that? Booyah or
Yep.
something?
So there were the Bullfrogs, and then the Booyah, and then the Rockers, which that was their first year last year,
Okay.
I believe.
Yeah, so quite a few name changes over the last few
Yeah.
years over there. No, I thought they would maybe at some point kind of do something piggyback off the Packers or something like that,
Right.
but no, it's kind of completely different
Mhm.
a little bit over
Yeah,
there.
I think
So
it's a good way to keep, remind people that
there's other.
there's other things,
Yep.
especially when the Packers are, their seasons are so different.
Yep.
So it's nice to have a separate entity
Right.
than, because they're so close to Lambeau.
Exactly. Yep, definitely. So, Rockers ended up winning the Northwoods League for that. So I think even Craig kind of mentioned them as a team to watch last
Mhm.
week when he was in kind of recapping the season from his perspective
Yeah.
there too. So, but obviously, little disappointing to fall in the postseason, but now that you've had some time,
Mhm.
I know it's only been about a week or so here, but when anything kind of stand out to you from this past season? Is there anything or a few things? I mean, what do you think you'll remember the most about this season?
I think this was it just feels like it was a really historic season for us.
Mm-hmm.
I sent out my thank you email to sponsors and season ticket holders yesterday, and I do a little recap of, we had almost 50,000 people that came into Carson Park this year. Dale and Vic hit their 600th win, and for me that was cool too because I got to watch that happen for their 500th win in 2019. So it's cool to be a part of both of those experiences.
Yeah.
Wraith Peterson hitting for the cycle.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it's just every year has something different. You always think like, oh, I'm not gonna like these guys as much, or
It's going to be hard to like top the years prior or something
yeah,
like that.
we may not have had a JJPs, but
Mhm.
we had like Dallin Quigley and DJ Massey and Daniel Rosado and
I don't think I saw DQ without a smile on his face at any game.
yep,
Yeah, he always seemed like he had a smile on
he
his face
did.
there.
Even when I went to go say my goodbyes to the guys after the loss in lacrosse, it was still a smile on his face, big ol'
Mhm.
hug. Those guys are so appreciative,
Yep.
and that is just makes our job, that much better.
Right.
The interns this year, they wanted to do a player recognition night. And so they had host families write little clippets of something about that people wouldn't know about the players. And so they found photos of all the players and they printed them and put a little goodie bags. And so as they read them off, I was handing the bags off to the players and they're all thanking me and giving hugs. And, you know, it's just a reminder of, that's why we do this. Besides, the family fun entertainment, it's, these guys that are coming from all over to
Yeah.
spend the summer with us too.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and like kind of Craig was saying too, last week, you develop these relationships
Mhm.
with these players, and then all of a sudden, it's kind of done, and players are leaving quick. It's tough for families,
Yeah.
host families, or even
Mhm.
like in your position too, being around those guys
Mhm.
almost every single day, and
Yeah.
then they're out of town right away.
Yeah.
It's
I think as I get older and the age gap becomes further and further apart with these players, I start to feel more like a mom.
Yeah.
I was telling one of the interns, I was like, man, I feel like I have 30 sons. Because it's like, Sammy, I can't find my jersey. I looked in all the piles and I go into the locker room and start digging through all the piles. All right, here's your jersey. Oh, thanks. Or Sammy, I forgot my hat. So it's just fun.
It's yeah, you got to embrace it, right? Yeah, is
Yeah.
that one of your you probably one of your favorite parts of the job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was. I mean, I to kind of piggyback off that. I'd mentioned a few times already. This is probably the most I've ever been to the ballpark this year with this
Yeah,
team.
you guys were there a lot.
It was, I mean, obviously, you got a lifetime fan. I'm pointing over here because he's actually on the other side of this wall is Hudson right now. I mean, he was asking for when you guys were on the road updates and playoffs and all that. And even my wife Veronica would go on like, oh, DQ starting tonight, Hudson, or something like
Cute.
that. So I mean, it's just, and that's the thing too, going to the ballpark and seeing how the players would interact with the kiddos and seeing the kids line up,
Mhm.
outside looking for autographs. That's what it's all about, is for those youngsters
Absolutely.
over there.
Yep.
And it was just fun to see it, not just with Hudson, but every
Yeah.
other child out there too.
Because
So
for these kids, they don't care where they go to school. They
Mhm.
don't care if, if they started or if they had a great game. They just care that they're giving them the attention and that,
Yep.
they're living out the dreams that these little kids have.
Right. Exactly. It's the role models
Mm-hmm.
for those kids to watch
Absolutely.
that. So, you also did a lot of new stuff this year at the ballpark. I call it the swag shop. But I mean, to have the building set up
Yeah.
for the apparel. I mean, that looked like that was a good
It
success
was a
this year.
huge success, and a lot of that is thanks to Close Up Apparel with, you know, so many times we were able to turn stuff around so quickly. Even Pete Knudsen was like, wow, I couldn't imagine. Like, you guys had these shirts or, you know, the rally towels or, you know, a theme shirt, you know, we just did it in a week. And that's just, you know, that relationship that we've built with Close Up and them being able to, you know, support us like that. It's, you know, I don't know what we would do if we didn't have them.
Shout out Todd over there.
Yes,
Yep.
absolutely. They work endlessly for us in the
Mhm.
summer and very appreciative of it.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you had some good. I don't know how many times my credit card has went through there but I'll say if you guys do baseball cards again, you got to save a DQ one for him because he's got every time we've gone there, he's got a binder full of express cards now.
Oh,
And he's like, how come I don't have a DQ? And I'm trying to explain, it's like, well, got to give it a little bit of time.
Yep.
And, he's going through all these and, matching up the numbers, thinking they're still playing, that sort of thing. So it's, but
don't break his heart yet.
no, he's good. The mini bats, the mini helmets, he's got those displayed in his room. You guys had some awesome apparel this year too. And those new jerseys were a big hit, it sounds like, too.
Yes, they were. I mean, we had these blue sweatshirts that, in the beginning they weren't quite selling, and then a couple of players saw them, started wearing them, and then we couldn't keep them in stock the rest of the season.
Those are your marketing tools right there.
It is, and I say that every year that whatever the player touches turns to gold. That's what people want, and so we just got to find stuff that the players want to wear.
Right.
Those became our unofficial.
They were sweet. They were really sweet looking. So
yeah.
I know it's still kind of early in the process, but like what's on tap for you now besides getting married? Yeah.
Getting married.
that's a big one for you right now. But express wise, is it just kind of still recapping the season right now, or what's kind of the stuff planned for the immediate future?
Yep. Recapping, a lot of contract renewals, getting ready for that, and just kind of closing out year end for the 2023 season. And then we'll just kind of lay low for a little bit,
recharge.
Yep. And then, go to league meetings in October and get ready for the 2024 season.
Already league meetings in October? That's not that far off.
It's not. I come back from my honeymoon and then it's time to go to league meetings.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's never ending over there.
Yeah. So.
Anything, you don't have to reveal anything right now, but is there anything on your mind that you're kind of thinking about future wise, like promotions?
We've already got something really cool lined up.
A tease. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. So stay tuned maybe for the future.
Something
over there.
Big.
Ooh, really? I like it. I like it. So how did the Tom Pocat bobblehead night was fantastic?
It
Tom
was
awesome.
Huge hit.
To.
Tom is, he's amazing. He's, he spent some time up in Eugene as well. So it's fun to chat about our different times there. But, it's so cool to see all the different generations that came up and we're, talking to him or, saying, oh, I've got this jersey or I've got this card. And, he had a blast.
That's awesome. And I loved a lot of your theme nights, Yellowstone and all that there too. So you guys did a fantastic job. It was a lot of fun at the ballpark this year too. It seemed like too, this year more than not, towards the end, you had to battle some weather stuff there too with those rain. And there was one game, I think it was actually canceled. And I'm like, I don't know the last time the Express actually canceled.
The last time that we canceled a game was 2021.
Yeah. I didn't think it was very
at the
often.
End of the season. It was, we were playing Minot, and that's a 9-10 hour drive for them.
Yeah.
And it just didn't look like it was gonna let up, and going into a weather delay, then pushing the game back, and of course, right when we call it clear skies, people are showing up, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, but the game's canceled.
Yeah. It was just I remember it was just a downpour though.
It was.
It wasn't going to be fun for anybody out there playing.
No, it wasn't. But I was talking with one of the league members who handles when all the rain does happen, and that's who we have to call. And because he came to our playoff game, and he's like, "Gosh, there's been so much rain this year." I said,
Mhm.
"I know, and we're not at any help with that. I'm
Right.
sorry."
So, I mean, again, to kind of look back at this season, I think this is, kind of with the Express too, it was a tale of two different halves, right? Your first half, you
Mhm.
win it, a lot of offense. But a
Mhm.
thing I think a lot of people probably don't realize, and I even forget about sometimes too, the roster's always
Yeah.
changing. It's ever evolving. You look at a team like lacrosse, for
Mhm.
example, first half, it was a little slow, but then second half, they jumped out.
Yeah.
That's something unique with this Northwoods League
Yep.
team where it seems like the roster's always evolving there too.
Yeah. If you look at the roster that we had July 2nd, July 3rd is not the same roster that we had on July 5th.
Mhm.
You know?
Just a 2-day difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with first half ending and second half starting, and we have first half guys only, and those were the guys that helped us get to the playoffs.
Mhm.
So we lost all of those arms. We lost Matt Helwig to the draft, and we lost Cole Kahn to getting drafted. So, it's like people are like, "Oh, you guys you just tanked." It's like, well, it wasn't the same team.
Right.
It was a completely different team in the second half and a completely different team in the first half. And so, it's hard.
It's hard too because, the first part, first half you win, you secure a spot.
Mhm.
But then you're like you said, you're a completely different team at that
Yeah.
point there too. So
Yeah.
it's really different. And that's a shout out to Dale and Vic and that coaching staff
Mhm.
to handle
It's
all that.
it's not easy. I mean, you've got 10-day contracts, you've got guys that come back from the first half to the second half, right, for playoffs.
Mhm.
So he's having to juggle, who is he actually going to release and who is he going to keep and hope that they're able to come back and help us in the playoffs.
Mhm.
He had really pushed for Matt Helwig to come back, and that would have been a great addition to have
Mhm.
late in the inning. But I think that the guys that we did have, they did a great job, and they're a great addition to our team. And
Mhm.
I looked at my fiance at our home playoff game on Sunday, and our interns were just doing everything they possibly could to get the crowd going, to get the team going. The bench was just on fire the whole night with just cheering on the team. And I looked at him and I said, "I don't want to lose this game solely for the interns
Mhm.
because they just put all their effort into it that very second to get
Mhm.
the crowd going." Colin, he was our MC on field all season, and his voice was completely gone by the end of the night, just yelling into the mic, just getting people pumped
Mhm.
to have a good time. And it was just like, that's the heartbreak for me. It's just
Mhm.
like seeing the interns give so much, and then it's just like,
And that's something
comes to
you
an
see, but
end.
would you say like the interns are kind of one of the underappreciated or maybe kind of overlooked aspects of the
Absolutely.
Express or Northwoods League?
Absolutely. These interns are here for a grind.
Mhm.
They are putting in the hours that I'm putting in. They're getting into the office at 9 a.m. and they're leaving the ballpark at 11 p.m. on game days.
Mhm.
They are definitely underappreciated, and I appreciate them so much because we would not be able to do anything that we do without their execution.
Mhm.
We had 4 marketing interns and they all had sponsors that they worked with. We had Casey who, they had all of your guys' 5 sponsor
Yep.
nights. And, we had interns that worked with Crumble and CVTC. And so, these interns are coming from all over the country as well.
Yeah.
Completely new to Eau Claire,
Yep.
and they're here for the same amount of time these players are, and then they leave to go back to school and go back to their normal lives, and then it's just back to the office staff. But
Right.
I think everywhere in the Northwoods League, they definitely probably are the most overlooked. Same with host families.
Mhm. Yep.
Those are the biggest parts of every organization, and I think a lot of people don't see that, especially like fans.
Right.
So
Yep, absolutely. Well, Sammy, to wrap it up, I mean, congrats. I still say successful season. It was a lot of fun. I know I kind of mentioned already. We were at the ballpark more than any other year. I know, and that's a credit to you guys, just because it's making it fun for the kids and being a destination where a 5 now 6-year-old wants to go to the ballpark and have fun over there. The team was a lot of fun. By the way, I don't know if you heard. I think Dale said it was a squirrel tail. Wasn't a raccoon tail. When we
I don't
asked
know,
him
but
that.
it's still there.
Is it still there? Okay, it's still there.
It's still there. We'll see if it lasts throughout the winter.
But big thanks for everything for you guys. I mean, the t-shirts too. I mean, that was I'll be honest with you, the highlight, the E-rules, because Sammy's wearing one right now too, and we got one displayed over
It's
there
only
too.
fitting that I come and wear.
Exactly. So, and I know we had a couple people asking about if we're still doing podcasts. We'll still do podcasts.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
We still have
throughout.
stuff to talk about throughout the off season.
Yep, definitely. So even like when we get to like baseball playoffs, we'll have to do one to make some picks or something like that. Have some fun with it, right?
Absolutely.
So, but seriously, thanks to you, Craig, Dale, everybody on staff, the interns and everything, because it was a lot of fun at Carson Park, the ballpark, and these Tuesday interviews too.
Absolutely.
So a lot of memories made, and I know I'm partial too for that guy over there too. So it was a lot of fun. So
Well, thank you for always making Tuesday mornings enjoyable for the entire season.
oh no, I would think that's all you guys. So again, we'll have more episodes of the Eau Claire Express podcast up. So always keep an eye on it. Maybe some teases coming throughout
so.
the off season too. So I like it. Sammy, if I don't talk to you, I'll talk to you before, but congratulations too.
Thank you.
In a month. Starting to get nervous, or
Oh yeah.
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 Starting to think, absolutely. Well, it'll go by fast, trust me.
Oh, I
There's
know.
somebody there. That day is gonna go by fast. So enjoy it. So Sammy, we'll talk to you soon, okay?
That's good. Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and we'll talk some college football with Mr. RJ Cardinal coming up in just a couple minutes.
education benefits make getting a higher education a reality. Being an Army National Guard soldier makes living and serving in my community more rewarding every day. Learn how you too can live and serve part-time close to home by visiting nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Dr. Logan Shepke from Shepke Chiropractic is joining me right now. And Logan, it sounds like you just want to give a nice thank you, shout out to some of your patients.
I do.
There.
Yeah, it's been awesome. The support we've had, going through the different stages of acquiring the Altoona office, and then now with the new child here. So really thankful for all the referrals that I've been receiving from patients or other medical providers. And the support from my existing patients. You guys have been awesome. So shout out to you guys.
Awesome. That's great to hear. And, looking at the calendar here quickly too, we got football coming up with those youngsters with camp. So it might be a good time to maybe make some appointments and get adjusted before camp.
Absolutely.
And even during football season.
Absolutely. All ages. Yeah. Get in, get yourself straight, and then hit it hard.
Yeah, definitely. And be safe out there too, right?
That's right.
Exactly. So again, big thank you to everybody who's stopped by to Shepke Chiropractic. And if you want to make an appointment, where do they go to?
ShepkeChiropractic.com.
Thanks for listening. And thanks for checking out our live stream on YouTube and Facebook. And thanks for not mentioning that spot on Dan's shirt.
Barbecue stain on my white t-shirt.
I guess that's why he never wears white.
You can't handle the truth.
The Dan Kasper Show.
College football season officially kicks off this weekend with some of the games over there. Badgers will officially kick off next weekend against Buffalo, Saturday, September 2nd. We're about 11 days away from kickoff. The anticipation, the excitement is building. RJ Cardinal, are you is it starting to hit to you that the Badger football season is less than 2 weeks away? Has it hit you yet there, man?
I mean, it kind of does as soon as the calendar turns to August and you start fall camp. But before we get into that, I'm kind of glad you went with a different quote from A Few Good Men about the white shirt rather than the one that actually mentions white in it.
That's right. I didn't even think of that, RJ. You're right.
Well, and I only remember that one because the lead into the bowl game against Arkansas while I was in school, that whole three running backs of Darren McFadden and who are the other two in there? It was like they called themselves Run DMC because it was the initials worked out. But during an interview, McFadden basically said, Wisconsin can't handle my jock, and then we won the game, so that doesn't matter.
That's right.
In the pump-up video, the line in question was used because they would be wearing their white uniforms during that game, but I think it was white. I don't really remember now.
When they go down to Cuba with Jack Nicholson.
Yep.
Yep.
That's where my mind immediately went, but I was like, not radio safe, so probably good.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that, RJ. Wow, nice pull. Nice pull. All right.
That's one of my favorite movies. I could sit down and just have that on in the background.
Same here. Whenever it's on, if there's nothing else on, I'll stay with that one. That's
yep. I'm
easily
with you there.
Yep. Oh man. All right. So back to football. So we got Badger football. What with your time, kind of using your experience being with the program when you were over there. When you're less than 2 weeks away, are you starting to work on game planning for like Buffalo at this point? Or are you still, kind of maybe working on your own playbook? What kind of give us a little bit of a background? What could the Badger football team be working on at about less than 2 weeks away from the opener?
Yeah, during my time, it was definitely install started for game one during 2 weeks out. Then 1 week out, you basically go into like in-school game week. So like you start putting down your, once the semester starts schedule, you have like your breakfast available in the morning from X to X. So if you have class, you have time to go get breakfast and do all that kind of stuff. Then you have your free time because you should be in class. You'll have time where you can go see video, all that kind of stuff. And then you have practice at your normal evening time. and then go into your evening schedule and basically have that first week, even though there is no school, act like there is school, and then just hope everybody makes good decisions during their downtime. But yeah, so this week it's install. At least that's what it was in my time. Judging by some of the comments I've heard from Luke Fickell, they've been using time like Ohio State did, where Ohio State usually during every week has install prep for Michigan.
Really?
Yeah, and we going back even in my days, talking to Ohio State managers, yeah, they have Michigan install that goes throughout the year. And judging by some of the comments from time to time, it does seem like Wisconsin has like some built-in time to install game plan for Minnesota and Iowa. So I don't know if that's actually the case now that the season starts, but it does seem there was some install for that during camp, judging by, and I forget when it was, but there was a comment he made talking about some install for Minnesota and Iowa. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that's the case. That's the perception I got, and I really want to try to remember when that interview was, but it was earlier in camp, and yeah, so I'm guessing still probably a little like I had, but it does seem there might be some extra install going on.
Interesting note there. With the season getting ready to start here, is there a player or players that you think could be, like, if you were to make some surprise picks or a player to watch that maybe we don't know a whole lot about, like not Braylon Allen, obviously, not Mordecai or anything like that? Is there players that, Badger fans should be paying attention to? Like, I'll throw out one. Is Tucker Ashcraft one that we should be paying attention to with the season getting ready to start up here?
Yeah, due to injuries, it sounds like he might be a focal point moving forward here. Another name you hear on the offensive side of the ball is, even though he's not, it seems he's been getting less reps than anybody else, Bryson Green. So those are two on the offense. Defensively, I'm not too sure, only because, it seems they're a little thin at D-line. Linebackers should be okay, and it'll be interesting to see how it all flushes out with that dollar position and how exactly we see the defense, because we don't, like, just going into it, I'm not sure what percentage of what position is going to be on the field at what time. But the other day, Tressel was doing some interviews, and like he just said, basically, watch for past contributors who maybe didn't have a lot of time, but you're going to see breakout years from like 3 or 4 guys, maybe. And it's like, oh, okay. Mostly because people have graduated and they're just going to fill in. So, and we don't even know a rotation yet on defense. So it's a little hard to pick the defensive side, but I mean, it's one of those, when was the last year we didn't have the next guy up that all of a sudden impressed you, or an injury happened and then the next guy impressed you? So I can't really pick on the defensive side of the ball, because I mean, some of the people you're thinking of, you were planning on having good years anyway. So it just, yeah, it's all really, that side of the ball is like different for me. And I'd say Hunter Wohler at that dollar position, but I think we're all expecting good things from Hunter Wohler.
Mm-hmm. There was an article I had just read. It was actually earlier this morning. Was it Michael McCleary? And he was talking about. It was an article about CJ Williams, the wide receiver, and I thought there was some cool quotes in there, like Nick Evers, had texted CJ saying, "Dude, I'm going to Wisconsin, committing in 2 days. I think you should check it out." And then apparently Williams asked his wide receiver coach at USC, "What's your opinion of the North Carolina offensive coordinator?" And it kind of, obviously we know CJ Williams is with the Badgers right now, but what would be like a realistic expectation for CJ Williams or some of these wide receivers, do you think, this year for year number 1 under Phil Longo?
It was something that here, at least on the zone, we've been talking about possibly having this offense be a little comparable to the 2011 offense run by Russell Wilson.
Ooh.
And people, me, I've been saying it's not the air raid. It's running Wisconsin's offense out of a different formation, where, that year Monte Ball had almost 2,000 yards rushing. James White had 700 yards rushing. You put your two Wisconsin backs out there, I bet together Malusi and Allen could create that kind of number. You look at the receiving core. This year's receiving core's depth is much better than that 2011. You had Jared Aberderis go for 900 plus yards. You had Nick Toon go for 900 plus yards. You had tight end Jacob Pedersen go for 350. I mean, Monte Ball even caught 300 yards, only 24 receptions though. So and James White had 15 catches for 150. So I think that's the kind of numbers we're looking at here. And maybe the receivers go for a little more, but you might be pushing for a team that is averaging, almost 500 yards a game, much like that Wisconsin offense was. So it's going to look different, but I'll call it more the power spread that Longo runs, that this team will run. I mean, you go back and look at his stints at North Carolina and Ole Miss. You ever remember the national media saying North Carolina and Ole Miss were running the air raid? No, because they weren't.
Mm-hmm.
It's Wisconsin football out of a different formation, and you won't have a fullback in there. It's like I said, it's a formation that helps create a lot of one-on-one situations. It's hard to key on one person. If you do, we're going to find somebody to exploit on that defense's side of the ball, and that's the philosophy. It's meant to create mismatches. It's meant to, isolate the weak spot on a defense. So yeah, it's going to be weird to see how people, if Buffalo stacks the box against Wisconsin because they're expecting them to run. I mean, I wouldn't, but who really knows what we're going to see on the first play? There's already people joking, if Wisconsin passes on the first play of the game this year, we know it's going to be the air raid because that never happened.
Oh,
so, it'll be interesting to see what kind of numbers this new offense can put up, because the quarterback, is able to do it with 7,700 total yards in his career, 77 touchdowns at SMU. The receivers that we already had on the roster that stayed are very capable. You brought in even more capable receivers to make this probably the deepest wide receiver room Wisconsin's ever had. And your top two running backs are, should be moving to play on in the NFL. If Malusi can stay healthy and have a season, I think you'll be able to see his draft stock go up. If that doesn't happen, his football career might end. But you're looking at Braylon Allen. He should be poised to have a breakout year. There's now publications going out there saying he's the dark horse to win the Heisman. It's a quarterback award now, so if anything, probably place a bet, futures bet on Mordecai first before Braylon Allen, because if Braylon Allen's getting the yards, I think that means so are the wide receivers. And it'll be interesting to watch this offense if it does come out clicking from the get-go. What kind of numbers they can put up this year.
RJ, and maybe I'm overthinking this, but looking at the schedule, you got Buffalo for your first game coming up here, and you're talking about the offense. Is there a real possibility that maybe we still won't know what the offense looks like or how it's going to flow until maybe we get to the Big Ten portion of the schedule?
I don't really know how much they're going to show versus Buffalo. But I mean, that second week opponent on the road at Washington State, it showed last year you couldn't go vanilla against them.
Yeah.
And at least our defense was able to hold them to what should have been capable of of winning a game, but I mean, offensively, we went vanilla, and I mean, we even heard Keanu Benton last year saying, "Hey, I called the offense out, and people just stared right through me like they were defeated." And that was probably our first sign of something's not right in this locker room. So you're going to have to come out and punch them in the mouth. And I guess depending on how you want to look at it in the new offense, it's something where I think by week 2 we might be seeing more of what this offense is going to look like rather than a kind of cruise control version of it during what week 1 should be. But, after watching last year, I mean, you can't really say that.
Yeah. What do you make of Jim Harbaugh doing a self-imposing 3-game suspension for this year?
I think it is Michigan, getting ahead of possibly a year-long suspension next year. Even though they did agree to a 4-game, it does seem the NCAA is backtracked because then you set a precedent of lying to the NCAA about a recruiting infraction only being 4 games. And that's a level 1 violation, which usually comes with a year-long, and if you end up getting fired from it, it becomes a show cause. So you have to have a valid reason to hire a person before their show cause ends. And I think that's something that the NCAA was like, oh, no, that wasn't supposed to get out. Okay. Oh, geez. So they backed off of that, and this is Michigan kind of getting ahead of that, saying, here's 3 games. So when a full suspension comes down like next year, it can be like, whoa. We already sat 3 games. It'll be 9 games. 3 of those will still be, it could only be 2 non-conference games, I guess. But 2 of those at least will be non-conference games, and see how that happens. So it's not a full season of a ban. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what then the NCAA punishment, when that comes down, what that's going to be. And I think it's just more Michigan being proactive on making that sentence a little less than whatever the NCAA might now come down on them with.
Yeah. I mean, is it, what if Michigan wins a national championship this year and then they got that for, potential for next year? I mean, there's a lot of people thinking, could this be, Jim Harbaugh's chance then to jump to the NFL next year?
I was just going to say that if they win it this year, he's taking NFL interviews.
Yeah.
He already has when he wasn't doing so hot and renegotiated his contract. So, it's definitely one of those. I think it's something where the scenario can play out however you want. And the odd thing is lying about buying a kid a burger on a recruiting visit. Like, I don't like.
Yeah,
it's not the actual act that is. It's he lied about the act, and I mean, like, it's one of those. How does that get labeled a level 1 recruiting violation about lying about it? But still, it's one of those. The NCAA picks and chooses who they like and don't like, and clearly they don't like Jim Harbaugh. And I think if this were some other coach that is seen in a good light and not seen as a psycho by some people or a bit standoffish by some people, that this probably would just blow over and stay at like whatever the agreed upon suspension was. But I think this is we don't like you, and we're going back on our initial agreement.
I agree. RJ, appreciate it as always, buddy. Thanks for breaking everything down. And then what next week we're going to be talking about the game and previewing the matchup. How about that? Holy moly.
Sounds good to me. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, you have a good rest of your week. Stay cool, bud, and we'll catch up soon, okay?
Yeah, you guys too. We got 96 today, 99 tomorrow. So, yeah, it's going to be a hot one.
Oh, yeah. Heat wave, baby. Heat wave right before football. Nothing better, right? Man. So,
right.
All right, dude. We'll catch up soon, bud.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
You got it. There you go. There's RJ Cardinal joining us here this morning. Final break. Closing up shop. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
You're listening to The Dan Kasper Show.
The Shoe Doctor is known for quality footwear. Remember, the Shoe Doctor can keep your feet comfortable during all the different outdoor weather and activities here in the Chippewa Valley. Work boots, casual shoes, sandals, and more from brands you trust like Keen, Merrill, Chaco, and Dansko, and that's just to name a few. Located on Claremont Avenue in Eau Claire, you can also visit them online at ShoeDoctorFootwear.com. The Shoe Doctor, quality footwear for work, sport, and fun.
Picture this. You're surrounded by the serene beauty of the great outdoors, waiting patiently for your moment. It's not just a hobby, it's a passion. We're talking hunting. At Tilden Gun, they understand the thrill and excitement that comes with hunting, whether it's for deer, turkey, or duck. That's why they offer a wide range of high-quality firearms, ammunition, and accessories to help you make the most of your hunting experience. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned hunter, Tilden Gun will help you find the perfect firearm that suits your needs and preferences. But it's not just about the hunt. It's about the memories, the camaraderie, and the bond with nature. Tilden Gun is proud to be a part of your hunting journey, ensuring that you have the tools and equipment you need to make unforgettable memories in the great outdoors. Visit Tilden Gun in store at 12427 90th Avenue in Chippewa Falls or online at tildengun.com to explore their wide selection of firearms, ammunition, scopes, and hunting accessories. Be safe and best of luck in the great outdoors.
America is kept safe because the Army National Guard responds, protects, and supports our nation when it needs them most. From fighting wildfires with air support, helping civilians in flooded neighborhoods, to delivering food and supplies to those who have lost everything, the Army National Guard always responds when disaster strikes. The Army National Guard also trains to be ever vigilant against threats, foreign and domestic. They protect our skies with missile defense weaponry. They secure our information, communications, and infrastructure with cybersecurity. And they protect us against chemical, biological, and radiological hazards with the civilian support team. The Army National Guard also stands ready to deploy and provide support for conflicts or humanitarian missions abroad. Join the Army National Guard and be there to respond, protect, and support your community and your country. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
What's something you can't get for $18.99? Supplies for one last camping trip. What's something you can get for $18.99? A month of unlimited car washes at Clean and Classy. Something you can't do in 5 minutes? Get that weird smell out of the camper. Something you can do in 5 minutes? Get a car that shines so nice. Clean and Classy on West Claremont and off Hastings on Brackett Avenue. Wash your car more than once a month? A monthly pass is going to save you money. Make your car clean and classy.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
At Staples, school supplies are always in session. From art supplies and essentials to the latest tech, in stock and priced low. School on, save on at your local Staples store.
You don't have to live in Britain to get what the New York Times calls the best of British telly. Stream the UK's most brilliant series only on BritBox. Unlock acclaimed favourites including Vera and Stonehouse, starring Succession's Matthew McFadden. Plus, don't miss upcoming original dramas like Archie, the story of Hollywood's greatest leading man, Cary Grant. Lose yourself in Britain's best entertainment, only on BritBox. Start a free trial at BritBox.com.
Do you know of anyone who needs some help chasing their dreams and passions? Backyard Dreams wants to help. Email us at info@sportstalk1051.com so we can help.
Wrapping up this Tuesday morning already here. Just a few minutes at the top here. Big thanks to Sammy from the Express stopping by. Joe, RJ just finished up our conversation with him. And all of you for texting, tweeting, commenting on the video stuff. Appreciate your input and insight and analysis. So, what do we got on the docket here tonight? Don't forget, first pitch, 7:10. 7:10 tonight. Brewers, Twins. Wade Miley on the mound. Bailey going for the Twins. Quick two-game series in Milwaukee. Tomorrow, that first pitch will be at 1:10 before another off day for the Brewers, before they welcome the Padres into town for the weekend. So we'll see if the Brewers can still have a little bit of momentum from their series sweep against the Texas Rangers. Will they be able to carry that into the series with the Twins, or maybe in the next few weeks here, maybe in the last month? Who knows? Will the offense kind of start to, give some consistent production? Is this a turning point for Willie Adames after that series he had with Texas? Hopefully. Santana, hopefully. We'll see. Get our first glimpse tonight. Again, 7:10. You can catch that game on the radio dials, 105.1 FM and 790 AM. I believe we got some practice that'll be going on here, too, for the Green and Gold before they wrap up their preseason against the Seattle Seahawks on Saturday. That's like the perfect preseason game to go to, a Saturday noon game at Lambeau Field. Come on, you can't ask for anything better than that, right? No, you can't. So, looks like practice today is going to be at 12, and then the last practice open to the public is going to be tomorrow at 12 too. So the next two practices at noon. The last one open up to the public is going to be tomorrow. So if anybody hasn't, it's going to be some hot ones too for their last couple of practices here. So if you haven't gone to practice yet and you were still hoping to plan on going to, your time's running out. Literally, you're running out of time here. So, but these are going to be the last couple days for some of these players to make some final impressions. Some of those players that are on the roster bubble. You got a couple more practices here, then you got the game on Saturday and such. And, kind of just knowing LaFleur and how he's operated, you factor in the weather, they might be shorter practices too. So those guys out there who are on that bubble, on that roster bubble of making this team, they got to go out there and ball out. They got to put something good on tape for these coaches and for these front office people, for them to keep them on the roster. So, but we should get some updates, I would imagine, from LaFleur later on today with his presser before practice. Maybe get some injury updates on some of the players too. I kind of wonder with some of the guys that have been dinged up for a couple weeks, are they going to try to go in that final preseason game to make one last push to get on the roster? Not like a Tyler Davis or anything like that, and he was just placed on injured reserve too. So, but the Packers picked up a couple of former XFL products yesterday. They picked up a couple former XFL players to add to the roster here. So, we'll see if they got enough time to make a play or such, but might just be a couple extra bodies to get through this final week here. All right, tomorrow we'll do stock reports. That's your homework assignment, kiddos. Stock reports are going to be due. Whose stock is rising? Whose stock is falling? Think about that for a little bit. And then when we get to that tomorrow, I want to hear from you, okay? I want to hear your stock reports. Whose is going up? Whose is going down? Tomorrow, we'll recap Game 1 between the Brewers and the Twins and look ahead to Game 2 tomorrow afternoon. Discuss anything that may have happened at practice today for the Green and Gold, or any updates surrounding the Green and Gold and such. So we got all that to hit up tomorrow coming at you. So, but stay cool out there, all right? I haven't been out in a few hours. I don't know if it's starting to get warm yet or not, but it sounds like it's going to be a bruiser for the next couple of days. So if you got to be, any of you out there that are working outside, be safe out there, all right? Stay cool, drink. Don't forget about the kiddos that are going to be playing outside, and your pets too. DP and the Danettes, sort of the replacements for today They're off today. I don't know who's filling in. Then they'll be live from Dublin tomorrow, it sounds like. So have a good Tuesday. We'll be back at it again tomorrow morning, just past 6. Chat with you then.
You're listening to the Dan Patrick Show on